So we have 7 people so far. We'll start in 5 minutes. In the meantime, I don't want to keep the mic unattended. So we have Prakshal with us. Prakshal, you have migrated to US. So कैसा महसूस हो रहा है आपको अमेरिका पहुंच के? अच्छा पहले मैं माइक के राइट से दे दूं आपको. प्राक्षल मैंने आपको माइक दिया है और अगर आप बात कर सकते हैं तो प्लीज आइए. Before we start, anybody else would like to ask anything to me? Please ask for a mic. We will do like 5-7 minutes of time pass before more people join, and then we'll start the discussion. If you have any questions to me, please feel free to take a mic and ask a question. Am I audible, guys? Make an emoji if I'm audible. Am I audible? Hello? Yes, yes. Okay, I'm audible. So if anybody has any question before I start, we'll just do 4-5 minutes of non-topic related chit chat before more people join, and then we'll have this discussion. Please ask for a mic. Okay, before I we'll start now. Before I give my opinion, I wanted a few of the people who are in their 50s or late 40s to come and share their experiences that when they were 20, 25, or when they were 30, what kind of goals they made then, and how did how did the life unfold for them individually, and did they alter their goals, did they modify the allocation to each goal, if at all they had done goal based investing, and how it turned out for them. So I wanted to discuss that, but unfortunately nobody has asked for a mic yet. So it looks like I'll have to do the entire talking, which was not the initial idea. And I don't know, very few people have joined. Only 35 people have joined, which is a little sad thing for me. If you guys can retweet my original tweet, invite your friends, I don't know, tag people who should join. That makes me very happy. I'm doing spaces after 3 months now. I had stopped doing because, in my home, everybody says, nobody wants to listen to your pravachan. Nobody wants such thankless and endless advices. So I took it to heart, and I'm doing fewer spaces than what I used to do. Okay. Coming back to why I said that goal based investing is a scam. Okay. Uh, First of all, see, we have to understand how products are being sold across the world. Okay. You will be shown a film star or a cricket star that he drinks Pepsi or he drinks Coca Cola, or or he wears Nike shoes. Okay, the association is made, or a very beautiful girl in the advertisement of Birla Cement or JK White Putty. So the thing is, they try to make you emotional about something else, something totally non-related, and then they try to sell you cement. So looking at a girl, you become emotional, obviously. Looking at a film star, all your emotions are, or looking at Virat Kohli, all your emotions are evoked, and you instantly like the person, and then the product that you see next, you like the product as well. In investing, what happens is that you are made emotional by talking about your goals. Once we are married, we have children, all these goals are just staring at us. Life is passing by very fast. I'm in my early 40s, so I hope some of you can relate to it. Life is going like a bullet train in front of you, in front of your eyes. Like 10 years have evaporated before you could realize it. Did you enjoy? Did you do the world travel? Did you had experiences in five-star dining and wining? Did you do all that? Then your future commitments, your children's settlement, marriage, your own retirement, your health, illness, all this is staring at you. If you are a little conscious, it is questioning your existence. Boss, are you prepared for your retirement? Are you prepared for your daughter's marriage? Are you prepared for your son's marriage? And these are mega expenses in our lives. Okay, everything is so. When these people who are talking about goal based investing, they talk about your goals. They will talk about your daughter's education. Now you're instantly emotional. Okay, yeah, I mean, you picture it that your daughter will go to Cambridge or she will go to Stanford, which will have a fees of 2 crore rupees. You are instantly emotional. They will talk about your post retirement world travel or post retirement comfortable life. Instantly you're emotional that you'll stop earning and you will need money for your retirement and so on. So once you're emotional, then any junk product can be sold to you. That's my idea. That's why I call it goal based investing is a scam. Now, many of you might disagree, and I would give you a mic. I'll give you enough time to give your point. That was the idea of today's spaces. So they want to be emotional. They want you to be emotional about your goals. We all are. If I talk about any one of you and what is the goal that is close to your heart, you'll be emotional. And then the product which follows is totally not related to the goal, and it will be sold to you. There are many products, many debt products. Many of you might have done life insurance where life is not insured, but the investment is there in some junk product, which is called ULIP. So that's the idea of goal based investing being a scam. Now let's also talk about, you have many goals and these goals have overlapping time period. What do I mean by that? Let's say uh, you have a goal of going for world travel. Let's say going for world travel with the entire family will cost you 10 lakh rupees. You also have a goal for which you want to this world travel you want to do before your knee pain starts, and before you're too old. So you want to do, let's say you're 40, you want to do it before you are 55. Similarly, I'm giving my case. So similarly, if my kid is 7-year old, I want to plan for his higher education, which will also be due in another 10 to 15 years. So both these goals are overlapping in nature. Then let's say I'm talking about my children's marriage. Okay, that will also be due in hopefully 15 to 20 years. Again, there will be an overlap in terms of time between these goals. What happens is when, you know, India being an emerging economy, India being a growing economy, and India being a very, very inflationary economy, what happens is that we play catch up with inflation. Initially, if many of you might be working in IT companies, Infosys, Wipro, or TCS, or banks, you start at a very, very low salary, 15,000, 20,000, 25,000. You start, and then your salary almost increases exponentially. It goes to 50,000, it goes to 1 lakh, then you go on site, you go to US, you go to Belgium, and suddenly you have a decent corpus. You have saved on your on site, or your salary is very good. But then the moment you hit your 40s or late 30s, your salary starts stagnating. It is no more hitting the sky all the time. It is no more exponential. It starts stagnating. So, but inflation will never stagnate. In India, inflation has been 8 to 10% every a month, and healthcare inflation, inflation in education, and inflation in lifestyle related things is keeps on going up exponentially. For example, when I was a kid, okay, when I was 16-year old, or maybe yeah, around 16, Maruti 800 or Maruti 1000 used to be a craze. anyone having a Maruti 1000, which was later rebranded as Maruti Steam, it was a killer car, a car of 1000 cc. It was a killer car. Such a awesome acceleration, such a cool breeze AC, and it has a magnet value in the society. But then Steam no longer had that kind of has that kind of value. It's the same car, same engine, same AC, but now people want probably a Honda City, then they want BMW. Probably 10 years from now, people will look the same way to a Honda City and everybody would aspire for a BMW. I call it a lifestyle inflation, which is a major part of your happiness unless you address it consciously. So, as I was saying, if you're working in a bank or working in any of the IT companies, your salary starting first 5 6 years, 10 years, increases exponentially if you're a good worker, and then it starts plateauing, it starts going down. There is a risk of layoff in your early 40s or late 40s. You might become redundant and so on, but inflation is going in the same space. First point I made was all your goals are overlapping. You want to do a world tour, you want to settle your children, higher education, you want to marry your children in India. Marriage is a very expensive affair, and you want to save something for your maybe early retirement, for your layoff and things like that. Everything is competing. What happens when you start going near that goal because of the inflation which I talked about, because of the lifestyle inflation? Let me give you one more example of lifestyle inflation. 10 years back, you know, this event management in wedding, destination wedding, it was only for the elite and richest. Now everybody wants a destination wedding. Everybody wants an event management team. They want a drone helicopter, the drone camera covering the entire marriage. They want celebrities to be invited. They want a 5 day festival. Earlier, marriage used to be 1 day marriage, 1 day reception, which was given by the groom's party, and 1 day probably Lady Sangeet Harli. Now it's a 5 day affair. It's becoming mainstream now. So, uh, you know, uh, things will keep on becoming more and more expensive, and all your goals are going to be crowded near the same time because the way they are designed in your life. When the son needs settlement, your daughter needs getting married, or the vice versa. When the daughter wants to do her PhD or MS or anything expensive, the son is getting married or starting a new business, things like that. So everything starts time wise, starts competing at the same time. What happens with middle class? I have seen with one generation ahead of me, people who are 10 year elder to me, people who are 20 year elder to me. You start killing your dreams. You start killing your goals one by one. Okay, a foreign tour you wanted to do. Okay, you wanted to go to Switzerland. You wanted to go to Peru. You wanted to go to maybe Caribbeans. You wanted to go to Spain as well. Tomatino festival everywhere. So you settle for Thailand. Okay, one short trip of 3 days to Thailand. Now that lies in Facebook. That dream is killed. Okay, now similarly, you start compromising your dreams which are not high priority on that day when inflation has already beaten you. So which are the goals which any goal which is very close to your heart? For example, I'll tell you, for my dad, getting the daughters married into good families, in rich families, having a grand wedding, it mattered a lot. So a lot of other goals were killed in the process, including the goals related to health, goals related to health insurance. It took a back seat. Okay, for some of you, I have seen some of my relatives. Have seen some of my elder generation people that for them kids education was like non-negotiable. They wanted to send every kid abroad. So I have an uncle. He has three children. All of them, three of them are settled abroad, and with expensive fees. None of them got scholarship, but he was determined that इनको सबको भेजना. But now children are in good cities in US, but he has no retirement saving. So the dream of having a comfortable retirement, कि किसी से भीख ना मांगनी पड़े, you don't have to beg in front of anyone, including your children. When children get married, the entire equation changes. So you don't want to beg even to your children, to your relatives. You retire at 60, but life expectancy of either partner, husband or wife, is 90-95. So managing your 30 years without money, tough task. Children beyond a point, they have their own life, they have their own priorities, they have their own dreams, they have their own savings. Okay. So the dream of retirement of that gentleman I'm talking about got killed for the desire to settle his children abroad. So, so when you do goal-based investing, I don't know how many of you have seen the movie Kamine. In the movie Kamine, Shahid Kapoor has a goal ladder. 22 में नौकरी, 25 में शादी, 27 में बच्चे, 29 में LIC की पॉलिसी, 32 में ऐसा करके एक पूरा लेटर बनाता है. It was a very funny scene. It must be there on YouTube. I'll retweet it. So when we are 20 or 30-year-old, 35-year-old, we make various goals. But in India, it's a reality with everyone. I would invite many people from the audience, and I want to hear your views. All your dreams, all your goals slowly get killed by inflation. Only one or two things which are very very close to your heart remain, and all your money, all your energy, all your life remains invested in that. As I made my second point, that all your goals overlap in terms of time. So what happens when the time comes, everything becomes important, and the most important one or two goals remain standing, everything else gets killed. Okay. So my idea is, don't fall for this scam of goal based investing. Decide how much you want to spend for your present life. Let's say your salary is 1 lakh rupees. You save 30,000 or 40,000, whatever, right? Decide, because enjoying the present is also important. With whatever money you can spend comfortably, and then rest of the money that you're saving, save it in instruments without attaching them to any goal for long term. For the rainy day, when the time comes, when the priorities come, what will be the most important goal then? We don't know. We can't decide 20 years ahead of time. Other goals are going to get killed. So dreaming about world tour, dreaming about good settlement of children, everything expensive is very important. Have luxurious dreams, but don't tie and time your investments with each dream separately. Try to learn the art of investing, and then try to invest whatever is the remaining amount from your present salary or present from wherever you can save, and keep on aggressively saving and compounding it without attaching it to any goal. वो टाइम पे जब जो भी चीज सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट होगी उसको करेंगे, और कब कर पाएंगे? when you are comfortably beating inflation year on year. So our focus has to be not which goal, which investment, how to encash it. Okay, our focus has to be, did you beat inflation last year? Did you beat inflation last 3 years? If the answer is yes, you don't need any goal-based investing. You will be comfortably on top, provided you are in continuous employment for 10 years, 20 years. Okay. Now, another problem with goal-based investing is, let's say you have a goal which is, 5 years from now, I want to travel around the world, which will take 10 lakh rupees, conservative. Okay. And then 10 years later, you have kids higher education. So 10 lakhs you save for your world tour, and for kids higher education, let's say you want to save 30 lakh rupees. So that time period is 15 years. Okay, both investments going parallelly. When the time comes, 10 years, your world tour investment matures. Now you encash your world tour investment, take along everyone, go for a ride in entire world. You come back exhausted, you are comfortably settled in your job, and then suddenly you are laid off. This is not a sarkari world. No job is guaranteed. Okay, even Google or Facebook, or and in Google and Facebook, super talented people only work. They are getting laid off. Anybody can get laid off. So you came back from world tour, and 3 months later you are laid off. Okay, now to support yourself and to fulfill your very 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 important goal of your children's education, you need more money. Okay, so idea is, long story short, you need more money, more than the inflation, more than the emergencies. without having any short-term goal-based investing. Okay, I think I have made my point. I highly encourage all of you to do two things. Okay, one is if you are old enough, 50, 60, 70, come share your experiences, how you thought about it when you were 20-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old, and how your life panned out in terms of your goals and in terms of goal based investing, so that from your experiences we can learn. Second, if you have a counter view, please take the mic, and just that I had my rant for like 15-20 minutes, you're most welcome to do yours. Okay, so please ask for a mic. Gagan, Gagan, you there? Prakshal, you there?
Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yes, Prakshal. So you are in US, in which city?
In Atlanta. Sorry about the
Atlanta.
earlier time. I couldn't join. Probably because from the desktop you can't request the mic. I had to log in from the mobile.
Wow, I mean, such a huge favor you have bestowed on us. We get to listen to your voice. Where is Atlanta, by the way?
Sir.
So, Prakshal, tell us, for a lot of my followers are new, tell us a little bit about yourself. If you can disclose, where do you work, for how many years you're working, what are your goals, and stuff like that.
Sure, Anand. So I've been working for about 8.5 years. I currently work at Google. And
did you say Google?
Yeah, I did say Google. So
okay,
my goals are like to be not worried about money, right? And do whatever you like. Be free from the financial obligation to run the family. Uh, so there are multiple ways to do that. I'm just following few of them. And so basically, my ultimate goal is to be like free from all the financial obligation to run the family and be to live a life like a free bird. Whatever you wish to do, like do some research or do some value addition to the society. So basically, all such valuable things are only possible if you're not worried about the money. So those initial 3-4 years when you are focusing on such thing, you have to forget. You have to be very very free in terms of making a decision. Or in other words, you should be like courageous enough to focus on the long term than the short term interest. So short term interests are primarily the cost related to running family and other obligation. So I want to be free from them, free for that. That's my primary goal actually.
So, you for 8 years you worked in India, or you?
Yeah, I worked in India for about 8.5 years, and recently I moved to USA to continue.
And who else is there in your family? You are the single earner in the family, or your wife is also working?
My wife used to work. She's on a break because we had a kid last year. But right now I'm the breadwinner.
Okay, so the way people have sorry for me to say like that, but like popular goals like world tour, or buying a Ferrari, or something related to your daughter. What are your do you have any such tangible goals as well, and with a timeline?
Honestly speaking, for me, all of these are byproduct of my success. So all of this just happens for me. I don't focus for that. That's how I look at them.
Okay.
So
Okay, that's a way of looking at it. Yeah.
yeah, that's how I look at them. So world tour, probably I've traveled many countries, first world and the tier 2 countries as well. But all of them were not planned at all. If I'm comfortable, if I have some free time, I can plan. So only because I can afford it, right? So what I mean to say, right? It's just a byproduct of what I do currently, but I don't really focus on them. That's what I'm telling, and that's how I want to keep it.
And let's talk about, for example, your daughter's higher education.
Yes. So
So did you think about it, like putting some money aside? She is 1 year old, so maybe 15 years later you will need that money, something like that.
yeah, that's right. So I've been so every year I've been putting some lump sum amount for her higher education, and also I have like some corpus, like retirement corpus plus some surplus corpus in plan. which is ongoing activity. I'm hopeful that 18 years later, it should be sizable to support her further education, higher education. That's how I'm keeping right now.
Okay, so like in which instruments you have invested this for retirement corpus? Which I believe retirement would be like 20 years.
Uh, honestly, I don't know, sir.
No, no,
It's
I'm talking about retirement as in when we really stop working and start reading a lot of newspaper and start forwarding things on WhatsApp. That kind of retirement,
no,
not
I'm not
retirement for
looking
present
forward
job.
to such retirement. I'm looking forward to a retirement where. So okay, I have come to a different philosophy for myself, which is I only want to get retirement, uh, wherein I get ownership of my own time. And when I'm the owner of my own time, I'm focusing on something which is contributing to the betterment of the society. It could be like doing some business, or might be doing some education, or some way I haven't yet figured out. So my primary goal is to be free from all the financial obligation for the family. So I'm not really looking forward to a retirement wherein I'm just free reading the newspaper or just not doing something.
So basically, for you, retirement means uh,
Free from the
stopping to
financial
chase
obligation.
money.
Yeah. So
You will
basically, I don't have to
stop chasing
worry.
money.
Exactly. So I don't have to worry about where the bread for next month will come from. That's what I call as retirement for me.
So for that, where the bread will come from next month, how many years you are planning to save? You said you have two different. One is daughter's education, so you are doing some investment, and second is a retirement corpus. So
Right.
how many years you have added to that?
My daughter is just 2 years now, so it's still in a like nascent phase. The corpus is still small, but I'm planning to be more aggressive as she grows older. So right now, I'm just putting something into this Sukanya Samriddhi, right? Some small amount, and also I'm doing some bit of option selling where I'm able to, like, for past 2 to 3 years, I'm able to generate some 20-25% consistent return. It's on the conservative side, I'm telling, and I'm also adding her portion of it to my main pool of the corpus. So basically, it's diversified into two segments
Just
right
on
now.
the lighter note, I hope you're not selling options for your daughter's future.
No. That's what I'm telling. Right now, I've been into this two. I've been parking my money into these two pools. Moving
Okay,
forward, I may evaluate for more options.
options are like options in life, not in options in trading, right?
No, options as in the alternatives.
Alternative. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Fair enough,
yeah.
Prachal.
So
And
basically,
as you are from Google and ऐसा आपका DP से भी लग रहा है that you are a geek and all. So
oh my,
how much money 20 years down the line a person should need uh, to retire in India and in US? So two parts of the question. Let's say you want to retire in India or in US. How
yeah.
much money you would need a person
So
like you?
So US, honestly, I don't have an answer because I'm still new to a country. I'm still trying to figure out how this country runs and how the financing. I'm yet to set the equation for my own household right now because it's just 2 weeks that I landed here. So I'm still figuring it out. But for India, uh, I'm just so uh, so your question is for my own retirement or the overall kids education as well
Let's
as
say
education?
let's make it a maths question. Someone who spends 15 lakh rupees in India,
Hmm,
that's a comfortable living in India in any tier one, tier two city. 15 lakh
right.
rupees. He wants to retire 20 years down the line. So question will also incorporate inflation and other uncertainties. Because a lot of people
That's right.
don't know only कि कितना चाहिए होगा retire होंगे तो 20 साल बाद.
That's right. So I'll put it this way. So whatever this inflation numbers are coming up, right? So I'll just not. I won't take it, but I'll just round it up to nearest 10. So which is like 10%. और मतलब समझ लो मैं अभी 31 ईयर का हूँ तो 20 years down the line I'll be 51, right? So और मैं life expectancy गिन के चलता हूँ 30 years. So this is just a standard way of calculating our corpus for the retirement, right? तो 30 साल के लिए 10% इन्फ्लेशन के हिसाब से अगर मान लो इस साल का खर्चा 15 लाख है तो कितना चाहिए होगा 30 साल के बाद, उसके हिसाब से मैं डिराइव करूंगा.
Exactly. Nice, nice. Yeah. And we also have our friend Logical who had
Wow,
joined us
logical
as a
trader is
speaker.
also here.
I have logged back in to tell Praxal that go to sleep, man. Acha, okay. Oh yeah, Praxal, what is the time in Atlanta?
It's 15 minutes to 3 o'clock in the night.
Not good for retirement. That's what I'm telling, man. This guy is.
Yeah,
you should go to
but
sleep.
yeah, stay for another 30 minutes. Prakshal, you are a valued friend, so your inputs are welcome. We also have Pabilo, who is a dear friend, but who always has a counter view of on my philosophy, especially on investments. So I want to hear him out. He texted me that it's a complex issue and a gray area. So let's hear him out. That what are his views on gold based investing? Fabio, you have the
Yes,
mic.
yes. Thank you, Anand bhai. After a long time on your space, I'll start with let's keep it light first. For many, Thailand would be a much desirable destination than a Tomatino festival. So let's not compare it that way. Yes, I do have really contradictory views of on what you said, not on goal-based investing, but maybe how you put out. Uh, so what happens is I'll explain you this with examples that I have met in my real life. So there was this doctor who's a radiologist. She has three sons. The elder one is already 12 years, and they said that they are planning to send him to the US when he turns 18 itself. So 10 plus 2 करके and यहाँ पे 10 plus 2 करेंगे and then directly he'll move out to US. Now they have a good amount of savings, and so she reached, and the two younger kids are around they are twins, so they would be around 8 or something. So and same plans for them too. So they reached out to me and they asked, ki, what do we do? So the thing is that for the 12-year-old guy, so 12, 13 years था उसको 5 साल में जाना था. So usko, if I, and they had the purpose for it, and for them if I, and for him if I told her ki you can go for risky equity investments where the time period is short. So you got to understand the time period also for what you're saving. So like you said Anand bhai कि आप decide कर लो कि आपको या आप inflation को beat कर लो, बहुत हो जाएगा year on year basis पे and all your goals would be met. But we will also have to see when the goals actually plan out. Like you also said that goals would overlap a lot of times. So how do we? So I can also give you a way out. Ki how do you plan when the goals, when the goals are overlapping? Coming back to this example, so in this case, for the first son, I would definitely not recommend them to go for, for the investments that are totally into equity. I would have to cut it down to 60% in equities and 40% in debt, where equities slowly grow. Debt slowly gives them that question, and equity may be volatile because they have the expenses right in front of them in that case. But for the younger sons, they can definitely opt for more equity portion in their corpus, where it might turn out to be 80% equity and 20% debt, and then they keep on reducing as and when the goal comes nearby. So this is one way of doing it, and trying to. You got to see, you got to understand that goals are goals. Here, when you talked about goals, those also included aspirational goals. So for aspirational goals, say when you have a world tour in your mind, so these things are not necessary in life, but that education is necessary in life, and as you said, for some, even the marriage would be a necessity in life. So these two things you need to make you need as a compulsion in your life that you have to spend for it. तो उसके लिए तो आपको सेव करना ही पड़ेगा, पर ठीक है, अगर एक में वर्ल्ड, अगेन इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन द प्रायोरिटीज, बट ठीक है, आप एक वर्ल्ड टूर एक कॉम्प्रोमाइज कर सकते हो, बट आप यहाँ पे कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं कर पाओगे, एंड इट ऑल्सो डिपेंड्स कि आपका गोल कितना कितना दूर है या कितना पास है. Second couple that came to me, they both of them work for banks, well-renowned banks. I can give you the names of the banks. The husband is in ICICI Bank Treasury. The wife is in HDFC Bank. uh, finance. So well-to-do guys, but the thing is that they have a loan. Now ये जो कोविड के बाद जो मार्केट चला था, and they used to see how the markets are performing, so they came out to me, and they have two sons again. Both का उन लोगों ने प्लान किया है कि एजुकेशन बाहर होना ही चाहिए, ठीक है. Now they came to me and they, after their EMI goes for their home loan, they have a small portion that they save. Even after saving for their kids, they have a small portion where they save की kind of एक buffer saving करके कि उन लोगों को कभी जरूरत पड़ेगा कि नहीं. So these guys came to me and they told me कि ये buffer है and we want you to invest into equities. अभी आनंद भाई एक लोन है, मुंबई में लोन है और अच्छा खासा लोन है, एंड वो आप बिना पे किए आप इक्विटी में इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हो. So you don't even know your own goals. So for the first thing is that you know your own goals, and then you start, because आप खाली ऐसे ही सेव करते जाओगे, like you said, you decide कि आपको कितना पैसा चाहिए रहेगा और कैसे क्या बोलते हैं उसको, आप खाली इन्फ्लेशन बीट कर लो तो वो हो जाएगा. सो इट विल बिकम हे वायर. तो कभी कभी ऐसा होएगा कि आप वो गोल पे, आई मीन यू कम एट अ स्टेज वेयर the goal is in front of you, but the savings are not adequate. So sometimes it becomes important to save on a goal based, to save via this this the way you call it, the goal based investing. It becomes important depending upon the goal that you have. I know I may have not been able to put it in the right way, but I can धीरे धीरे आपको मैं समझाते रहूँगा if given an opportunity. Yes, Anand bhai, you had questions or something.
See, the thing is, hello, am I audible?
Bol. Yes.
See, the thing is, I'm here to challenge many popular concepts, which I call myths, which are floating around in investment world for very long time. One of the popular myths is that equity is more risky than debt. Okay, everything goes through a cycle. RBI has, I'm just giving an example. RBI has been increasing rates very sharply, or US Fed has been increasing rates very sharply because the inflation world over has gone up. Or in Volcker's era also this happened. Interest rate went up to 13-14%, and inflation was also in double digits for a very long time in Volcker's time, Reagan's time. Okay, so this is a popular myth floating around for more than 50 years that debt is safer than equity. Okay, especially long dated debt. Even in government security, even in and I'm talking about interest rate risk right now. I'm not talking about counterparty risk. I'm talking about interest rate risk. What do I mean by that? For example, when I started working in the financial institution, SBI had floated tier uh, tier 1 bonds. It had a coupon of 9% or something, and they had a retail discount also of 0.5%. So retail was getting, so every year you'll get 9.5%, and that was in 2008 or 9. A lot of people lapped it, because for the very first time, it was being marketed for retail. But very soon, inflation went into double digits. It went to 12%, 13%, and bond being very liquid, it underperformed for 5 years, 6 years. So I'm not trying to say that you gave a wrong advice to the radiologist whose kid is due for some expensive study abroad in 5 years. But debt can underperform equity and underperform inflation in 5-year time frame as well. So I'm trying to break this myth that debt is safer than equity. Okay, both are risky instruments, both are risky. When I say, I mean, look at last 3 years, last 2 years. Last year, many of the funds have given 1 or 2% return, while the inflation is literally in double digits. So you have eroded the value of money, right? And it is incidental. Nobody can time equity market, and equity market has gone up like anything, right? So both are risky. I'm not saying equity is safer or much safer या बिल्कुल safe है ऐसा नहीं बोल रहा हूँ. Both are very risky. For 5-year time frame, yes, longer when you go, debt also starts becoming less risky. And in all across the world, we have seen that systematic investment in equity for a very long dated investments, 10-year plus, always outperforms debt. And the logic I want to give is very simple logic is, let's say, in a country like India, I am eating tiger biscuit जो 5 रुपए का आता है, right? And let's say the population remains constant, and everybody consumes, whoever likes it, basically one tiger biscuit every day. So the quantity of biscuit consumed will be same, but in inflationary environment, tiger biscuit from 5 years from now will be 10 rupees same pack, or maybe if they're smart, earlier it was 500 gram, it will be 300 gram now. So that biscuit will become expensive. Let's also assume that biscuit making companies profit margin remains same, their sale also remains same. As I said, population is constant, the liking for biscuit is also constant. Still, company will make more money only because of inflation, right? Same goes for two wheelers. Let's say Honda bikes or Hero bikes, same number of bikes are being sold, but same bike 10 years back was 30,000, now it is 50,000. So the sale number, the rupee number, the dollar number will keep on increasing with inflation. So equity, everything else being constant, equity has different kind of risk, but everything else being constant will always beat inflation in the long run. In short run, what will beat inflation? We don't know. So that's why advising someone on short run is very tricky. We often go wrong. Most of the best experts also who come on TV managing big corpus, if you look at their 3-year-old video, 2-year-old video, or 1-year-old video, they often go wrong because there's so many moving parts, so little certainty that we can go wrong. So what is the way out? The way out, I would say, is we should try to beat inflation year on year, every year, and that should be part of our personality. It's not so difficult to manage our own funds in such a way that we will be able to do it without having these cliche, without having these myths. Okay, you are 50-year-old, your debt allocation should be 40, your equity allocation should be 60, your risk profile is this. No, everybody has to take good risk in a long run, because equity will only beat inflation in the long run. Debt, we don't know how the debt cycle will pan out. Okay, now coming to that, sorry, I lost track. So,
on equity and the play between equity and debt.
So now a lot of people will say that I'm trying to cherry pick, and it's very easy to look at hindsight. But when we had ultra low interest rate for years put together, India being inflationary economy, we had RBI ka interest at what, 3.5-4%, repo, reverse repo. In a country where we are adding one Australia every year, population wise, in a country where protein rich food is always going to be in short supply, in a country which is young, aspirational, it was no brainer that inflation is going to be in double digit and RBI will be forced to increase rates very rapidly. Not everybody can guess the global macro, the Russia-Ukraine war, nobody can guess. US, how it will pan out, nobody. But India, you had any doubt that inflation will come back? Elections are so expensive, our life is so expensive, right? And rates, what, 3.5-4% for so long? So the interest rate cycle had to turn, the debt had to underperform. This is not very difficult to see. And everybody has to see that as if your life depends on it. Because boss, everybody is going to retire at 60. They are going to live till 90. And when they are 80-year-old, their life is going to depend on whether they knew it when they were 25, 30 or not. So we can't outsource this decision making. We have to analyze, we have to read, and we have to be equipped enough. It's just like, knowing how to walk, knowing how to drive a car. It's life-saving skill. Knowing where to invest, where we are in the cycle. You will go wrong. Everybody goes wrong. Even the experts go wrong. I go wrong. But you have to think about outside the box that no, debt is not safer in the short run. Equity is not risky in the short run. Okay. Let's know the equity market, where the index fund risk is, where the sectoral risk is. Know it, right? I would say it is very risky for someone who is totally ignorant. I would say it is less and less risky for someone who is, already successful in some field, who is a radiologist or who is working in Google or who is a top doctor, right? Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm encouraging people to figure it out whether in next 3 years or 5 years debt will be riskier than equity, right? Whether it will be able to beat inflation, where we are in the rate cycle, where we were in the past in the rate cycle. And I'm not asking someone to be on the screen every half an hour. These exercises can be done once a month, twice a month, right? Discuss with people whom you think might give you a better view. Don't agree to anyone blindly. Don't be anybody's bhakt, even including mine. But think through it and break all the myths which are floating around that debt is safer in the short run. There has to be whatever your age is. Depending on that, you should be more invested in equity. Or my father is approaching 75 now. Okay, he is 100% invested in equities. Now you would say it is blasphemy. It is against the religion of investing. Fabio, I'm just finishing in a minute. So I told him be 100% invested in equities. Okay. Now, here are the reasons. Now, it is blasphemy. You all agree, right? 75%, 75-year-old guy investing everything in equity market, no debt exposure. Why? Here is the reason. Okay. He gets a regular pension. All his children are financially settled. Okay. Wherever he was working, takes care of even his medical expenses. So there is no looming financial liability on the head immediately. 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. Okay. Such a person, even 75, has very little financial risk ahead of him. Now he has to make sure that apart from pension, whatever money he has should beat inflation. And I believe that's why I gave this advice that in the long run, equity beats inflation. Now, yeah, Fabio, go ahead.
No, Prakshal raised his hand before me. So, Prakshal, if you want to go first, I can definitely add on after that.
Prakshal.
Thank you, Fabio. So, sorry. So I was last year I was talking to one gentleman, a very very experienced gentleman into equity market, dealing with very very big money. So he had like one punchline for me that how we as a Cellerite people are conditioned to pursue things, right? And that's the reason why this debt market and the ULIP schemes also became successful at one point, is because we are so much conditioned by getting a fixed monthly paycheck regularly in a predictable manner, right? That fund also has something similar to offer. So basically it's a psychological comfort with a debt fund or any other alternatives which offers us fixed returns. And we at that point don't realize that if someone is going to give me so many percentage, then where that guy is going to get that money from, right? He's certainly taking some risk on our behalf, or to give us some money, but certainly he's getting more money by giving us certain percentage in a return. But this is in general, Cellerite people are conditioned to pursue things in that way, so that they are become more they are more comfortable with that fund which offers a guaranteed return on so and so date or so and so period. That's the point I wanted to convey, Anand, to you.
I agree. I mean, all the mass media and now the social media keeps peddling same myth again and again. Debt is safer, goal-based investing. Then equity is risky. Even I would say, I mean, I am doing all the blasphemy, all the crossing all the religious tenets that trading is risky. Managing your own fund, you will burn your fingers, you will burn your body. Yeah, Fabio, go ahead.
No, Anand bhai. So I just wanted to, you very well said that for the person who is knowledgeable, and I guess everybody should start, educating their self. Financial literacy has become kind of, a survival instinct. तो वो सीखना चाहिए सबको, and everybody should know it. But then you also have to give a thought for people who don't know it. So, like you said, that one important aspect that you mentioned about your father is that all his children are well settled and he gets his pension. A pension is a form of debt investing, where where if you start investing today and you plan in such a way where you're investing where like you get a fixed amount every month as a pension, and then at that point of time you can definitely do equity investing. So you will have to structure it in such a way where at least your basics are taken care of. Now today, if there is a person who is not a pensioner, who still relies on his, maybe he has his shop or he has a pharmacy or something where he still depends on it, for him, uh, it's a risky business. So you will have to, somewhere down the line, everybody will have to manage their risk. So even goal based investing, as people know, so people perceive goal based investing to only start सेविंग फॉर अ पर्टिकुलर गोल, ये मेरे को करना है तो इस हिसाब से मैं इतना करूंगा, और देन देर आर मिथ्स की इक्विटी इज टोटली रिस्की, डेट इज नॉट रिस्की, ये वो है. बट एट द एंड द एंटायर जर्नी, or even that, right from trading to investing, everything is about risk management. So if today you need a particular amount which is important for your basic survival, that has to come from a fixed income. You cannot then go for equities at that point of time. But after you have managed your basic needs, then you will start exploring where you start multiplying your income. आज अगर किसी बंदे का 30,000 का नौकरी है, महीना उसको खाली घर पे 30,000 आता है, वो ये नहीं कर सकता है कि मैं अभी इक्विटी कर दूंगा. First he will have to work a way out where he reaches a point where he gets an additional income which is able to support that risk that equity has. Now, why we consider debt as not as risky as an equity? See, even you will say, हाँ debt का आज कितना है, 3-4% है, inflation ही मेरा 6-7% है, मेरा तो 3-4% every year क्या बोलते हैं उसको, depreciate होता ही है, क्योंकि वो तो inflation भी beat नहीं करता है, right? But in the long run you will say, हाँ ठीक है, debt थोड़ा बढ़ जाता है, inflation नीचे आ जाता है, तो वो cycle cover up कर लेता है. At the end, the entire point of debt, I'll tell you in the open, is to protect your principal. It is only debt investment is to protect your principal and maybe get 1 or 2% higher than inflation, and that is it. That is not here to give you growth, or that is not here to give you wealth. Equity, the principle, the basics of equity investing is to wealth generation. Debt is never for wealth generation. So you will again have to go into your psyche or meet people who can get into, like Praxel had this guy who came to him and explained what risk is all about. So you will have to get into your own psyche and decide. And there is only one point where that inflection point will come. So today, if Praxel is there and he like God has been kind to him, he has a good job, he has a good wife, he has a kid. But guy who is living in a small town in tier 2, tier 3 India, who has just a job which is just a hand to mouth survival, for them equity is not. उनके लिए तो आनंद भाई आप क्या करोगे, उसको अपने बच्ची के लिए भी बचाना है. Until unless he reaches a point where there is this inflection point where his income grows, and then you have when he can start taking risk. So that is very personal, or that is very individualistic, I would say. The the part that you give it to equity and the part that you give it to debt.
Yeah. But actually, just give me a minute. I want to add something, and then I'll come to it. See, when I gave my dad's example, the only reason was if he goes to any financial advisor, 9 out of 10 people will say you are 75, so your equity allocation has to be down and your debt has to go up because you're old enough. So they benchmark it to age, and that is what is floating around in the advisory world. That is what I'm questioning. So it has to be not dependent on the age. It has to be dependent on what the person needs in that hour, in on that day, in that moment of his life. Even a 30-year unemployed guy, I would say go total debt. Don't take equity risk, because as you said, principal erode hone ka risk hai. Learn new things and stuff like that. So I was just questioning the myth that age के हिसाब से allocation घटाया और बढ़ाया जा सकता है. You know, with age the allocation can be increased or decreased, debt versus equity. Okay, that was the point I was trying to make.
Yes,
And
yes. Just 20 seconds, Bhaskar. I'll just put it the same example I'll give you. The ICI, the couple who came, ICICI and HDFC Bank, with a loan. Yeah, unfortunately, what happened last 6 months, the father-in-law passed away, and he had an equity portfolio, and the mother-in-law is still there. So that mother-in-law's 100% portfolio I have allocated to equities, but their own two portfolios. So it is very. That is what I'm saying. It is very, very, very individualistic. आपको सबको I mean you will have to consider all the equation, and there is nothing such as कि age wise. वो एक आनंद भाई वो है ना क्या एक पॉपुलर जिसको समझ में नहीं आता है ना इक्विटीज, उन लोग के लिए ये एमएफ्स ने करके रख दिया है कि आप 60, और उन लोग को भी इजी हो जाता है. यू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट दी एमएफ्स म्यूचुअल फंड्स आर ट्राइंग टू डू. उन लोग को तो दोनों बेचना है, ठीक है, तो वो लोग बोलेंगे अभी आप कैसे डिसाइड करोगे, उनको सीधा सीधा एग्जांपल दे दिया है, और वो लोग गूगल भी करेंगे. सो एनीबडी अ लेमैन हु गूगल्स कि how much there should be debt, and this is the first thing that pops out because Google works on popularism कि जब जितनी जो फंडा पॉपुलर होता है that will pop up first, right? And this is one of the easiest way for these advisors to to make the layman understand कि आपको कितना रखना चाहिए डेट में. तो बस वही है. It has been made popular. There is definitely, I agree to Anand bhai totally on this. It is an easy way out, and it shouldn't be done.
Prakshit. Prakshit, you had raised your hand. You want to add something, or somebody else also spoke? Yogesh, you want to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that goal-based investing offers a very important framework from allowing to choose your asset allocation. So let me explain that. Let's say you have a aspirational goal of going on a world tour at the end of maybe 10 years from now. Okay, now because it's an aspirational goal, it's not a goal which is related to your lifestyle support. You can afford to take a lot of risk with that goal. So you could pursue meeting that goal using some risky investment instruments like derivative investment, or giving it to someone who is doing private equity investment. 10 years is a decent enough time to get return on it. Your risk is high. If you don't meet that goal, it's fine, right? You're not going to put your lifestyle at risk. So it gives you a very important view of how and where you should allocate your assets to meet that goal. Second example, let's say I am saving for my child's education. The education, big say foreign education, and the outlay is going to come 2 years down the line. Okay, now, and I have already saved for that. That I already have the corpus. It would be foolish of me to invest that money in equity markets, because within 2 years I could get a 2008 kind of an event where I see 50% drawdown, and my capital, the corpus that I have accumulated goes half, right? So at that point of time, if I have already saved the corpus, I would put it into debt, because it allows me capital protection. So it's a framework which allows you to choose your asset allocation, and that has to be looked at very importantly. That's the only point I wanted to make. So I agree with Fabio that it's more nuanced, and you just can't apply a blind 60-40 kind of a thing. Every goal has to be planned and looked at as to what is it aspirational, is it a need, is it a want, and that allows you to decide what kind of risk you're willing to take with it.
Yeah, Prakshil, you go ahead. Then I'll try to engage with Yogesh again. Prakshil, you have raised your hand.
Sure. Thank you, Anand. So basically, 2 points I want to convey here. So basically, I'm totally in for a diversification across multiple asset class, but I'm against that someone is finding a comfort that some instrument is going to give back a certain amount of return guarantee in a guaranteed manner. So it has one fundamental problem that uh, you are losing out on an opportunity. So basically, this risk management is a psychomotor skill as Anand describes it. So basically, it has to be done through a practice. So what I mean to say is, let's say you have, say for example, 10,000 rupees monthly saving, whatever income class you are in, but let's say you are able to save 10,000 rupees a month, you should be able to do some risk, should be able to take some risk, and by which you may certainly fail during initial phases, and but out of those failure you should be learning out of it, learning something out of it. इसका फायदा क्या होता है कि at the younger age you will be paying a lot more attention for even 1,000 rupees profit or loss. That same thing used to happen with me, but let's say 10 years down you would not pay any attention. So basically if you start that exercise 10 years later, then you would not be able to spend so much energy as you were able to do it 10 years before. तो मेरे साथ भी शुरुआत में ऐसा होता था, लेकिन after so many failures, I have learned so many out of so many failures. I have learned so many things that I'm prone to so many. I mean, I've learned so many good risk management. और अभी जो दूसरा एग्जांपल डिस्कस हुआ था, आई थिंक योगेश सर ने डिस्कस किया था कि मान लो कि 2 साल बाद मेरे बच्चे का कॉलेज एजुकेशन आ रहा है एंड आई एम पार्किंग सम मनी एंड दैट स्टॉक गोज हाफ, राइट? So basically, my risk management will not allow that to happen. My risk management will definitely take care that okay, 10% is a hit that I'm willing to take and I can afford to take. तो वो 10% के beyond जा ही नहीं सकता. So my point is, you should never stop taking a risk, but also you should, I mean, if you're not comfortable going full into risk mode, you should diversify across multiple asset class. But also, this is risk management is a ever learning process. You should start as early as possible in your life. That's my point.
Yeah, Yogesh ji, I have a couple of thoughts on what you said. पहला तो थॉट यही है, आई डोंट नो हाउ मेनी ऑफ माय लिसनर्स वुड बी कंफर्टेबल विद हिंदी, सो आई विल से इन इंग्लिश ओनली. पहला, the first thought is that in India, in spite of the best phase that we have seen in last 30 years, aspirational goals are butchered even if you meet the money. Even I want to go to Greenland, okay, I want to go to Iceland, I want to go and see the Nordics, right, in 10 years, okay, and I invest in equity, it becomes 5 times good enough. And in 15 years I want my son's education in Harvard, he gets admission, he's very likely to get admission. That's 2 crore. Even if my equity goal, that world tour wala, that becomes 5 times, I'll be falling short for that Harvard ka fees. So this equity, in spite of becoming 5 times, it will be butchered, right? That's what happens with 99% of the people in India. पैसा कम ही पड़ जाता है, और जब वो एज हो जाता है, let's say you started planning at 35, when you're 45 and you realize यार टीवी पे देख लेंगे ना ये नॉर्दर्न लाइट्स, आइसलैंड क्या वो दोस्त आके गया, बहुत टाइम पास था वो. You start justifying, you start killing your dreams even if you have the money. So my basic premise, I think you joined late, I told in the beginning only, in a country like India, be prepared to kill your short-term goals. Because even if you reach the money milestone, the other milestone, other goal, for example, children's marriage, 5 years back, there was no drone camera. 10 years back, there was no event management. एक टाइम का खाना खिला दो हो जाता था. अब तो 5 दिन, I have attended couple of destination weddings. My mind almost exploded the kind of expenditure those people were doing for 5 days. So this lifestyle inflation will keep on going so high, more than the real inflation, more than the equity, that even if you have money ready 5 times for the world tour, you will be falling short for the education and the daughter's marriage or son's marriage, right? So that's my answer to you, that you should not have any kind of aspirational goals. वो दिन 15 साल बाद अगर इतना पैसा हो गया, I mean, 10 years back, I invested in a friend's startup. Okay. And that was like a lottery. So if you win any kind of lottery, let's say somebody tells you today that, invest in Titan stock, and Titan becomes 100 times in spite of smaller allocation, you are just sloshing into liquidity and you're swimming into money. Go for that world tour. वो दिन decide करो. अभी से goal मत बनाओ. बस उसको उसकी हत्या ही करोगे. That's my point. Even if you meet the money. Now coming back to things which are very critical in life. Okay. For example, your retirement or children's education, or hopefully those are not 2 years away. If those are 2 years away, the person is waking up even today. I have nothing to offer my condol. I mean, nothing but my sympathies. I have no financial advice to give that to such a person. It should be 10 to 15 years away, right? If it is 2 years from now and I have not done any saving so far of any kind, maybe from job or whatever I was keeping just in the bank and not putting in any asset, no real estate, no equity, no debt, nothing, then I have nothing to offer but my sympathies to such a person. Someone who has 15, 20 years to plan. Okay. Now, let's say you started planning in year 1998. As you mentioned 2008, that's why I'm taking 1998. Or someone who started planning in 1993. So 10 years away, 15 years away. And as I advocate, go maxo in equity if your goal is more than 10 years. If your critical expenditure is more than 10 years. So you go maxo in equity, your son is going to go to Harvard, all admission and admit card, everything has come January 2008 and market crashes 50%. Okay. You will be still better off than the dead guy who started in 2001. Go back and do the calculation. Very few people will intuitively understand, but if you go and see the data, if you have been consistently investing in equity from 1998, let's say an SIP to 2008, even the bottom of 2008 will be better than going all debt, because you are afraid that you don't want to lose that money. Just that expenditure has to be far, far away. And even the worst time in equity, you'll be able to sail through. That's my point. March 2020 as well. So if you started in 2001, let's say 20 years you have, or let's say 15 years you have, and you started in 2005, you started 2005 in good companies, let's say if you are financially aware, or even, good mutual funds from 2005, and comes 15 years later, boom, January, in November, you get the admit card for Harvard, 2 crore required, 3 crore required, whatever. You are always invested in equity, so you have more than that. Now, market takes a hit. You will be better off than your Padosi who went all into debt because it was a critical investment. I hope I have made my point clear. We don't need to agree to everything, but have I made my point clear, Yogeshji?
Sir, I understand your point. Maybe I was unable to explain my point. I agree with you that being lopsided in one instrument or the other is a recipe for disaster. Okay, so being lopsided in debt is not advisable, and being lopsided too much in equity also is not advisable. So how do you decide how much you should be invested in debt and how much you should be invested in equity?
No,
So
my point. Sorry to interject you. My point is not being lopsided or anything. If you have more than 10 years of timeline in your hand, you should be lopsided towards equity. Go 80-90% in equity. If you have more than 10 years to your retirement or to any critical investment in expenditure that you, because, and when I'm saying equity, I'm not saying go for some random advice. Make your hands dirty and look at which are the good mutual funds, which are the good index funds, which is the good stocks. Make a diversified portfolio. Don't be over concentrated in one stock or one sector. And if you are lopsided in equity, you'll be doing far better on any 10-year time period in the past, or I hope in the future. That's my point. So
correct. Okay.
let's be very clear.
So I let's say this is true. This will be true for a person who is working right now and maybe has some years to retire. Okay, let's say I am at retirement age, let's say 60. Okay, now, and let's say I don't have I don't have a government job. I have my own corpus to feed on myself, to feed me and my family. So in that situation, first I will protect my whatever amount I need every month for the next 10 years or 15 years, whatever it is. I'll take inflation into account, calculate how much that money is going to be every month, and so on and so forth, and keep that much amount in a pension kind of an instrument, which is a debt which gives me monthly return, and the remaining amount is for me to play and improve on my lifestyle. Okay, which could be any other aspiration that I might have, and I will use that money to invest in equity or in some other risky investments or whatever I may choose. So the goal that I have drives my main first goal at retirement is to fund my lifestyle, living expenses. Maybe I would have to save for 10 years later. Maybe a big medical expense will come because my age will deteriorate and something like that. I need to save for that, and so on and so forth. Let's take the example of your father. Your father has no, as you rightly said, has no no other liabilities, which allows him to take risk with his corpus. God forbid, if for some reason he starts facing a huge liability, okay, his risk profile is going to change because his goals have changed now. There is something big which has come, which reduces his ability to take risk. So you have to look at goal with the risk prism, and that allows you to see better options of what or how am I going to deploy my money and where. Okay, and obviously, if it is a long-term goal, you can afford to invest in volatile instruments, because volatile instruments will give you more return over a longer period of time than in a shorter period of time. That's the point that I was trying to make.
I get it. See, a 60-year-old person who has a corpus ready, let's say he has received a lump sum payment after his retirement, or he has suddenly got some wealth, and right now he has to decide. So to such a hypothetical situation, I would give first advice is, boss, tattoo it on your brain. You are going to live till 90. Okay. Whether you like it or not. Even Bhishma Pitama wanted to die early, but he had Iksha Mrityu Ka Vardhan, but he could not die on the date he wanted to die. Okay. So he has to tattoo on his brain that he has to live till 90, and only goal can be to outlive, the money has to outlive you. Money has to last longer than you. This is the problem being faced by many elderly in India, that they are becoming old and frail and their money doesn't last. Okay. So 60s and 90, 30 years is a very long period. After half of your life, you have to plan at 60. Let's say you got good money. Now you have to plan. Okay. Second is, if you have no pension money and no gyan of equity or debt, and you're just starting on the blank slate, first thing that you have to do is catch another employment. Okay, you cannot rely on any instrument, because in India, after this green revolution and milk revolution, longevity has improved. The healthy living has also improved. If you talk to anyone, when I was a kid, 30 years back or something, people in their 60s used to lose their teeth. They were really frail. Now people, even at 70, they are very healthy. So the mindset has to be prepared that, boss, I have to work, because I don't know how my money is going to pan out, whether in debt or equity. I have to work so that at least part of my expenses I'm able to take care. It is just like being unemployed. I'm being very crude and very blunt. It is just like being an unemployed youth. Kaam karna padega. That is the new reality of India if you don't get pension, and that has to take care of your partial expenses. Now, as I said, in the very short run, equity will be volatile, and it can give you surprises. So part of your expenses have to be taken. Let's say any retired person in a tier 2 city can live in, let's say, 1 lakh or 50,000 expense. Mark your expenses. I'm not saying do any compromises. If you are starting with a decent corpus, if the corpus itself is very less, then obviously you have to cut down on your lifestyle as well. Mark your expenses, and 2 years worth of expenses keep in a liquid mutual fund, where you can withdraw anytime, which will grow more than FD. Or even if you are able to keep it to 3 years, you'll get a tax advantage as well vis-a-vis FD. 3 years rakh lo ya 2 years ka expenses alag rakh lo, or partly earn karna chalu karo. Everybody has some unique skill which they can master. Even housewives can make tiffins, and I know I'm going to be trolled like anything. Okay, but this is how one has to go about it. If agar aaj hi so ke uthe aur kuch pata nahi hai instrument, beyond that 3 years, start having faith in equity, because that equity will only be able to outlive inflation to 20 years down the line. Otherwise, your money will be stagnant, and by the time you are 80, because of inflation, the value of money will be almost half, and other half you have already consumed. That's my answer. You might disagree, but this is what I have advised to a lot of people. And I don't say that anybody I advise to has to follow it exactly like that, but gives some material to think about. I would love your thoughts on this.
Sir, you are valid. Your point is valid. You also have to consider the risk that, let's say you are at 60 and somehow you happen to, India goes through a phase of Hong Kong and Japan. Okay, where their equity markets didn't give you any return for 10 years or last decade. So
That
those
is also
points,
that is
there
also
is a possibility, right? There is a possibility, right?
possibility है. मैं deny नहीं कर रहा हूँ. The thing
So
is,
उस चीज
we
को
are
आपको
only looking at the popular index. वहाँ पे it gets more nuanced than what is being popularly thrown around in the market. ये 30 years Japan did not give any return, but if we are looking at only index, and that too you invest on a top point, and then never invest, they never average it out, they never do SIP, and then so you are metering two very convenient points against equity.
No, I'm not against equity, sir. Sir, you're in fact, a large part of my wealth is on account of equity investments. Please do not misunderstand that point. Okay, I have significant investments in equity for a long period of time. I had zero debt, and I have seen I have lived through 2008 boom bust. I have seen those cycles with full 100% equity allocation. So it's not that I have any negative aspects against equity. The point here is that I come back to the same issue, is that the goal-based investment comes and allows you to take decisions which are much more meaningful and maybe more sensible for you. Like, let's take an example. Let's say I'm at 60, I have a decent enough corpus. I park that corpus in debt, secure my lifestyle. The additional money that I have, I can use it to pursue my own business. Let's say I wanted to start a small restaurant, or I wanted to start a small farm. I wanted to do something which my job earlier did not allow me the time to do. So those kinds of decisions are much easier, and those are risky decisions. Because running a business obviously is always risky. But if you have secured your monthly outgo, living, making those decisions are much more easier. Like even in trading, if you're doing trading and you already have some source of income, it allows you to take much better risks rather than having to deal with the pressure of earning your paycheck from trading, right? So the goal-based investment has to be used as a framework. You cannot, and you should not do the mistake of throwing it away because goals are, you will never have enough money to save for your goal, or your goal value is going to change, or inflation is going to eat away into your idea of goal. So that is just bad financial planning. If you're not taking into account inflation and you're not taking into account some of these figures while doing your calculation of the goals, it is really bad financial planning. And has nothing is wrong with the framework. You're applying it wrongly is what I would say. If I'm sorry to make the audacious statement, but that is what I would say. You will have to look at it from a point of view ki, what is it that I am doing and why. Like, if I wanted, let's say I have a goal of leaving a large amount of money to a charitable institution when I die. Okay, hypothetical. Now, I assume that I'm going to live at 90 or die at 90. Okay. Now, what I will do is I'll pursue that goal with a small capital, but on a large risky investment. Because that's an aspirational goal. Now, that's a framework that you use to apply it. Okay. But the same thing, I will not pursue a goal which has much more critical to my survival. Medical expenses, I would not put it in a highly risky investment. I will not do it. So these are aspects that goal-based investments allow you to. As humans, we are very difficult. It is impossible to give a not impossible. It's very difficult for normal human beings to assign money in a look at money holistically and decide. Okay, I'll have 20% in debt. I'll have 30% in equity. I will have 10% in real estate. I'll have 5% in private equity. I'll have X amount in derivative overlays, so on and so forth. That's a point which is very difficult. Only institutions are able to manage that. If you're able to do it, well and good. But most people are unable to do it. And the goal-based framework allows you to look at it from a different lens and ensuring that your asset allocation that you choose is not going to put your goals, critical goals, at jeopardy. That's the only point that you ought to look at it. It is not about how much you invest in debt or how much you invest in equity or XYZ. It is what allocation is right for a X goal and what allocation is right for a Y goal.
Fair enough. Okay. Yeah, Gopal. Sorry, Jay, you wanted to add something, or you wanted to share experience? Jay, are you awake? जय, क्या आपको हमारी आवाज सुन रही है? I think नहीं. Gopal, you are smiling. Yeah, Gopal, go ahead.
Yes, हम आपकी आवाज आ रही है आनंद जी. Hope you are good. Hope everyone is good here.
Well, how old are you? Like 15, right? How old are you?
I'm 30, bro. I'm 30.
30.
Not old.
आपकी
as
त्वचा
old
से
as
आपकी उम्र का पता नहीं चलता है. बताइए अपना एक्सपीरियंस शेयर कीजिए.
मेरे टूथपेस्ट में नमक है, bro. So you won't get it. So yeah.
तो आपके क्या क्या गोल्स है at 30? What are your goals and how you have planned about it? Share
Yeah,
that.
so Anand, it's more like I've been trying to do the goal-based investing in my whole life, right? That's my idea. Like not whole life. It's been only 6 years since I've been earning
हाँ, I
money.
was also wondering, आपका life तो अभी शुरू हुआ है.
शुरू हुआ है, but
Financial
yes,
life.
yes, and I got married just last year, so yes, it's been only like 9 months. Yeah. So my basic idea and to do the goal-based investing is like what Yogesh ji was saying. If I want to invest something, if I want to make a plan for a donation, I want to start up lot many education schools, healthcare projects over there and here. So what I will do and what my plan is, I don't want to invest in anything which could go against and die against the inflation, and I have to keep looking up to it, right? So whatever the investment we are doing, as you said, like if I can earn something more out of my goal-based investment, then I should do that rather than going behind the goal-based investment, right? So I really counterattack that. I do focused on what Yukichi said. If something is under my belt, if I want to achieve my financial freedom, then I will go behind it. I don't want to keep going back into the market, keep going back into the stocks or whatever the things we are saying, right? I'm not from a stock market. I'm not even investing into that except for some 15-20 lakhs I have invested through some mutual funds, some like Mirai asset and some bullshit what my friend is sharing to me. But yeah, I'm more on a crypto side, and that's why I joined the crypto. That's why I believe in a tech side. That's why I believe in a future of technology, not in some stock market. And yeah, I do understand that after the 6 or 7 years, Indian market will score high and will be in a very good age and phase. But that doesn't sufficient my goal-based investment. That doesn't give me a freedom over there. I do believe that if you are anyone who want to look up to the goal-based investment, then they should go behind the technological stuff. They should go and invest into that. So I don't know how you guys are defining it. I don't know how market is defining, and yep, you guys are seniors and you can tell me more about how to do it. So Anand, what's your take on that? How to do it? How to focus on goal-based investment, and is it
अरे मैं
or
शुरू
not?
में मेरा पूरा प्रवचन निकल गया. अभी तो आपका एक्सपीरियंस जानना था कि यू आर 30 ईयर ओल्ड, तो कुछ तो होंगे लाइफ में, गोल्स होंगे. इतने साल से जॉब कर रहे हो. विच आर द 5 ईयर गोल, 10 ईयर गोल, उनका व्हाट इज द नेचर ऑफ गोल, और उसमें क्या सोचा है, कैसे इन्वेस्ट करना है? कुछ करी है प्लानिंग आपने कि बस कमा कमा के बिस्तर के नीचे डालना है?
नहीं. So basically Anand ji, मेरा प्लान ऐसा है कि I want to keep buying the Bitcoin for the next 20 years. But maybe stock people won't understand it and they will laugh on it. But yes, that's my planning. I am not a job person. I'm running my businesses. So whatever I earn, I keep investing like 30% into the Bitcoin. If we call it Satoshi.
Bro, you are visionary. आप मतलब you are not a शब्द नहीं है मेरे पास. मतलब अगर आपको नॉर्दर्न लाइट देखने जाना है, फिनलैंड जाना है, तो बिटकॉइन बेचा चले गए। शादी करना है किसी रिलेटिव डॉटर का, सन का, बिटकॉइन बेचा कर दिया। तो
बेचना नहीं
आपको
है
तो
बिटकॉइन
लाइक
पर।
इट इज लाइक आई एम नॉट सेइंग ऑन अ लाइटर नोट, बट करंट कहाँ है आपके कि कोई भी
नहीं सर,
आपने
बस आप
बिटकॉइन बेचा
दुखी
और
होके
कर दिया।
बजाओगे। नहीं
I
सर,
I
बिल्कुल
agree
सही
that
बोल
it's a good idea. I'm not saying,
सर।
but
द
you're
रीजन
100% into Bitcoin, right?
यस, द रीजन आई एम डूइंग इज कि अगर मैं मुझे मैच देखने जाना है, सो आई वेंट टू यूके फॉर माय हायर एजुकेशन। अगर मैं वहाँ पे गया तो मुझे 4% तो मुझे बस यहाँ से वहाँ पैसे ले जाने में देने पड़े। वाई आई एम इनटू बिटकॉइन इसके मुझे, मैं अभी दुबई रह रहा हूँ, तो मैं दुबई आया तो मुझे किसी को कुछ बताना नहीं है। आई जस्ट इजीली यहाँ पे आ गया। मेरा कोड मेरे दिमाग में, 28 डिजिट मेरे दिमाग में, मतलब मेरे मेरे 50 लाख मेरे दिमाग में है। मुझे किसी के पास जाना नहीं है, राइट। मैं यहाँ पे आके कभी भी उसको कन्वर्ट कर सकता हूँ। विद इन अ क्लिक, विद इन आवर आई विल हैव कैश इन माई हैंड। विद इन
तो
अ फ्यू क्लिक।
बेसिकली आप भी मेरे वाले रिलीजन में बिलीव करते हो कि गंदा पैसा कमाओ और उस दिन जो चीज जरूरी लगेगी उस दिन वो काम कर लेंगे। अलग अलग से अभी सोचेंगे नहीं कि किस चीज के लिए क्या कमाया था। एक ही साथ अच्छा कॉर्पस क्रिएट करो, अमीर बनो, और उस दिन जो जरूरी लगेगा उस दिन वो कर लेंगे। ऐसा बराबर है ना? ये
आनंद जी,
अलग है कि मैं थोड़ा सा एक एसेट में, सिंगल एसेट में सारी चीजें रखना, वो मैं अभी आई डोंट नो। मैंने बिटकॉइन के बारे में मेरे को ज्यादा आइडिया नहीं है, बट मेरे को भी ये लगता है कि अगर आपको अभी आपके पास समझो कि 50 लाख या 1 करोड़ जो भी है, तो 10 साल बाद 20 करोड़ हो या 50 करोड़ हो, वो मल्टीप्लाई ऐसा होता रहे कि आपकी जरूरतें बहुत छोटी दिखने लगे। कोई भी जरूरत हो, बड़ी से बड़ी। जैसे मैं आपको एग्जांपल देता हूँ कि मैं बहुत डरा रहता था कि कभी मेडिकल इमरजेंसी हो जाएगी तो क्या करेंगे। मतलब फैमिली फ्लोटर प्लान खरीदा हुआ है, अभी मैंने क्लेम भी किया, तो मैंने ट्वीट भी किया था कि इंश्योरेंस कितना बड़ा स्कैम है इंडिया में, और कैशलेस में मेरा आधा क्लेम भी रिजेक्ट हो गया। तो ये 10-15 साल पहले जब मैंने ये फैमिली फ्लोटर वगैरह को मैं सोचता था तो ये लाइफ सेवर था। बट आज मेरी हालत भगवान की दया से ऐसी है कि नॉर्मल कोई भी इमरजेंसी कितनी हो गई थी, 5 लाख, 10 लाख, 50 लाख, 1 करोड़ की इमरजेंसी होती है, राइट? तो अपन उसको झेल सकते हैं, आएगा तो झेल लेंगे। अब उसके लिए मैं 1 करोड़ का क्रिटिकल नाक के कैंसर का अलग इंश्योरेंस नहीं कराता हूँ। अगर हुआ, इफ वी आर वेरी अनलकी, तो जो दूसरे गोल है उसमें से निकाल के ये खर्चा कर देंगे। So that is my idea. I'm not saying I'm 100% correct and everybody else is wrong, but I think you also belong to the same school of thought कि गंदा पैसा कमाओ और उसके बाद 5 साल बाद, 10 साल बाद जो भी जरूरत होगी और उस टाइम लगेगा कि हाँ ये प्रायोरिटी एरिया है, तो खर्चा कर देंगे। बराबर?
Yes, Anand ji, 100% I believe in that. See, I'm from a very poor family. When I was a child, when I was a kid, when I was going to school, I didn't had a slipper in my legs, right? कपड़े नहीं थे पहनने के लिए, तो मैं वहाँ से आया हूँ। अब पैसे बचा के अगर कोई बोल रहा है कि इफ़ यू आर फाइनेंशियली फ्री देन यू डोंट नीड टू गो बिहाइंड सच गोल बेस्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट, राइट? कि भाई अगर आप हो ही फाइनेंशियली फ्री, आपके पास 10 लाख कहीं डालने के लिए, तो फैमिली का इमरजेंसी होगा तो वहीं पे पहले आप डालोगे ना। क्यों आपको इतना बचा बचा के इतने इंश्योरेंस लेने, वो लेना है, वो टेंशन में जीना है। थोड़े बहुत पैसे है तो आप कहीं पे भी वो फ्री कर सकते हो। सो बीइंग फाइनेंशियली फ्री हैज टू बी अ गोल, नॉट अ गोल बेस्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट। दैट्स व्हाट आई थिंक। और दूसरी चीज जैसे आपने बोला है, आई एम 100% दैट काइंड ऑफ पर्सन, बिकॉज कभी था नहीं, अभी आया है तो अभी उसकी चिंता में रहेंगे तो क्या क्या कुछ कर पाएंगे हम सब। थोड़ा फ्री होना चाहिए। और जो भी लोग बोल रहे हैं ना कि मैं 60 साल में ये करूंगा, मैं ये जाके डोनेशन करूंगा, वो जाके डोनेशन करूंगा, दे आर नेवर गोइंग टू एबल टू डू दैट। बिकॉज जो आदमी 30 साल 50 साल अपने पैसे बचा बचा के इकट्ठा कर रहा है जस्ट टू डोनेट इट, आज अगर आप टाइम नहीं डोनेट कर रहे हो तो फिर आप कल जाके पैसे डोनेट करोगे तो उसका कोई मतलब नहीं है, राइट?
चलिए वो तो बहुत ही इंडिविजुअल स्पेसिफिक हो गया। हाँ, लेकिन मैं आपकी बात में एक चीज थोड़ा सा मसाला ऐड करके ये चीज कहना चाहूंगा, जो मैंने बिलीव किया है। मैंने अपने लाइफ के 4 डेकेड देखे हैं, और मैंने बिलीव किया, और मेरे को भगवान की दया है कि जब मैं 2 साल का था तब से मेरे को एक एक दिन, एक एक लम्हा याद सा है। मतलब बहुत लोग भूल भी जाते हैं कि 10 साल पहले क्या हुआ था। और मुझे लगता है कि 10 साल के बाद पूरा इंसान ही बदल जाता है। प्रायोरिटीज तो बदल ही जाती है, पूरा इंसान बदल जाता है। जब मैं 30-31 साल का था, जो मेरी प्रायोरिटीज थी, जो मुझे जिस टाइप का खाना अच्छा लगता था और जिस टाइप की लाइफ अच्छी लगती थी, वो सारा कुछ बदल गया 10 साल में। मतलब मैं आपको बताऊं कि मैंने अपने रूम में मर्सिडीज एसएल के का जो जो इसका हुड मशीन से ओपन होता है ना, अगर आपने दुबई में देखी वो गाड़ियां, कि बटन दबाए तो उसका पूरा हुड ओपन हो गया, ओपन कार बन गई। वो जीएल के एसएल के सीरीज आती थी उस टाइम, आज से 10-12 साल पहले। तो मुझे था कि जब 40-50 लाख की उस टाइम आती थी, अब तो 1 करोड़ की आती होगी, महंगाई बढ़ गई ना। तो मुझे लगता था यही गाड़ी खरीदनी है, और टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया से मैंने वो न्यूज़पेपर क्लिपिंग काट करके और अपने बेडरूम में लगाई हुई थी, और जो भी देखने आता था वो मेरा बड़ा मजाक भी उड़ाता था कि ये बताओ इतना पैसा कमाओगे तुम, पता भी है 40 लाख में कितने जीरो होते हैं, दैट काइंड ऑफ अ थिंग, राइट। और भगवान की दया है कि आज मैं खरीद भी सकता हूँ, बट मैं वो इंसान नहीं हूँ, मुझे नहीं चाहिए वो गाड़ी। अभी बहुत लोगों को बिलीव नहीं होगा, लेकिन अगर किसी ने 2-3 डेकेड देखे हैं, आप 10 साल पहले का सोचो, आप क्या थे, आपको क्या चाहिए था लाइफ में, पूरा का पूरा इंसान ही बदल जाता है। मैं जब प्रॉब्ली 11 साल का था, या जब 21 साल का भी था, तो मुझे लगता था कि यार झूठ बोलना वो बहुत ही बड़ी, मतलब ये तो किसी फ्रॉड से कम नहीं है, झूठ बोलना तो बहुत बड़ा फ्रॉड है, राइट। और फिर मैं ऐसी जॉब में आया जिसमें दिन के 5-6 झूठ तो बोलने ही पड़ते थे। तो जब मैं थोड़ा 12-15 साल का था, तो मुझे लगता है रिलीजन के खिलाफ कुछ सोचना भी, बोलना तो बहुत दूर की बात है, कुछ सोचना भी वो तो क्राइम भी नहीं है, सिन है। अभी आई एम अ डिफरेंट पर्सन। एंड फाइनेंशियल प्लानर क्या आप सोचते हैं कि आप वही पर्सन रहोगे, और आपकी प्रायोरिटीज भी वही रहेंगे, आपके गोल्स भी वही रहेंगे। ये थोड़ा सा यहाँ पे ये स्कैम बेस्ड हो जाता है, मुझे लगता है। मतलब एवरीबडी इज वेलकम टू गिव हिज व्यूज।
So I'm
हाँ
100% agreed. The last point I would like to make is, आपने जैसे बोला ना कि वो, हाँ, मतलब कि आपका गोल बदल जाएगा 10 साल के बाद, 15 साल के बाद, अगर आपके साथ ऐसा कुछ हो गया, आपको ह्यूमैनिटी
गोल
से
नहीं,
भरोसा नहीं
इंसान ही
रहेगा।
बदल जाता है हर 10 साल में। एक पिक्चर आई थी डैडी, अगर यूट्यूब पे होगी कि देखिएगा, उस डैडी पिक्चर का गाना है, मैं तो
अरुण
गाना अच्छा
गावले।
गाता नहीं, लेकिन आप लोगों को सुनाता हूँ। आईना भी मेरी पहली सी सूरत मांगे, ये गाने के बोल है। तो वो अनुपम खेर उसमें डैडी बना है, और पूजा भट्ट जो है, महेश भट्ट की डायरेक्टेड पिक्चर है डैडी, और पूजा भट्ट उसमें डॉटर बनी है। और अनुपम खेर अपने आप को, वो गाना गाता है और अपने आप को देख रहा है आईने में, और वो पहला जैसा बनना चाहता है उसको। तो एवरीथिंग चेंजेस सो मच, यू जस्ट लाइफ बिकम्स टोटली डिफरेंट। आप क्या करोगे उस टाइम, आपका क्या मन करेगा, इट बिकम्स टोटली डिफरेंट। तो फेबिलो में आपके पास आता हूँ, एक दो लोग जिन्होंने, जेपी साहब हैं जो पहले से जुड़े हुए हैं, उनको एक बार टाइम दें। जय पी सिंह सर, आप मेरी आवाज सुन पा रहे हैं? नहीं, आई थिंक गए हो। तो फेबिलो बोलिए, मेक योर पॉइंट प्लीज।
So Anand bhai, I've been listening to a couple of guys, I mean including you and the different types of speakers. Yogesh ji was also there. So and this might sound कि ये बंदा कुछ ऐसे हाई फाई फंडा लेके आ रहा है, पर आप खाली conversation सुनोगे ना, so it has to do a lot to what kind of a person you are, the background that you're coming from, and what you actually want to do in life. Like Anand bhai, आप जैसे the aspirational the aspirations that you have, the kind of hard work that you and me would like to put in our lives to get that amazing lifestyle, or even Gopal would wish to do that. Not everybody wishes to do that. I can show you 10 people whom I meet every day who aspire to be 9 to 5. SBI का जॉब चाहिए, पेंशन चाहिए, घर पे टाइम पे आना चाहिए, फैमिली को टाइम देना चाहिए. दिस इज देयर माइंडसेट. तो आप उन लोग के लिए, सो टुडे when we 10 years down the line we would have ample of, by God's grace, I mean, ठीक है, किसके पास होगा, किसके पास, let's not get into that, but people who are aspirational, they would work towards it, and they might have that corpus with them to not go into goal based investing. But for guys who have planned their life that way, that they don't want to, to उन लोग को एक additional, even for doing them an additional gig is a risk. So they won't even do that. So even if you think कि आज चलो मैं कोई न्यू स्किल ले लेता हूँ, गिटार सीख लेता हूँ, तो उसके बाद में मैं सिखा पाऊंगा कि नहीं, would I good? So they are stuck with that their mentality. So for them, I mean, for them, goal based investing, coming back to topic, for them, goal based investing will be there. So it has to do a lot with how your psychology is playing. Also, then it comes to your family background. Today you and me would be, we have reached that stage where we can have our own thoughts, or we can make our own decisions, where we can explore a new business, where we explore ourselves. But there would be families where even after 40-45 the dad would pressure, नहीं तेरे को तो दुकान ही जाना है, तेरे को यहाँ पर ही बैठना है, तेरे को नौकरी छोड़ के और कुछ नहीं करना है, तो आप उस चीज में क्या करोगे? So it all depends on how everybody is structured in their lives. So we would also, so because this is an open platform and you're speaking on Twitter and this is for everybody, so we will also have to consider that there are different kinds of people in our, people living. Now that is what I wanted to put.
Yes, yes, fair enough, fair enough. जेपी जी आपने दोबारा माइक लिया, बोलिए।
Sorry, sir, because I have never spoken on a space and I didn't know how to start it. Sir, I
पहले
can
तो
just share.
आप बताइए आप कहाँ के रहने वाले हैं?
मैं सर बिहार का रहने वाला हूँ.
क्या बात करें, बिहार सासाराम तो हमारे भी गाँव हुआ, आप हिंदी में ही बोलिए।
हाँ सर, तो मेरा थोड़ा डिफरेंट है एंड आई थिंक मे बी आई कैन शेयर जस्ट माय एक्सपीरियंस. मैं अपना मेरा अभी 39 ईयर एज का हूँ मैं, और मैं नेक्स्ट ईयर में रिटायरमेंट ले रहा हूँ. ओके, 40 ईयर में. दैट्स बिकॉज मेरे पास एक किड है जो स्पेशल नीड है, और मैं चाहता हूँ कि उसको मैं विलेज में रखूँ और उसके साथ टाइम स्पेंड करूँ, और टीचिंग जो भी रीजन है. एंड मेरे को सिटी लाइफ से
अगर आपको अगर आजादी है, थोड़ा और बताइए अपने बारे में कि आप बिहार में कहाँ रहते हैं?
मैं एक विलेज में रहता हूँ, क्योंकि मुझे सिटी लाइफ से पसंद नहीं आई. हेट सिटी लाइफ. ऑलरेडी मैं 15-20 कंट्रीज गया, बट मालूम नहीं, दिल वही अपना विलेज में ही है. और मैं लास्ट 5 ईयर से once my kid was diagnosed, one of the reason he's autistic.
क्या हो गया बच्चे को आपके?
He's autistic. I think now it's very common. So और मेरा लाइफ से बचपन से गोल था कि मैं एक फार्मर बनूं. वही तो सबके फैमिली में वही है कि इंजीनियर बनो, डॉक्टर बनो. They forced me. I also become engineer. Okay. बट जो लास्ट गोल था कि फार्मर बनना है, और जब ये बच्चे का पता चला तो चलो लेट्स गो बैक टू आवर रूट एंड स्टार्ट समथिंग. So I started this financial planning 3.5 years back. I think 2018. So almost 4 years. So how I have done, I'll tell. And contrary to most of the belief I am saying, we don't need much money. Like Corona में मैं 1.5 year रहा village में, my family, my kid and my wife, and we realized we don't need that much money. It's just the first thing we have to say how much is enough. You know, you can buy a Suzuki and you can buy a BMW. So it's up to us. So I made a piece and I did an Excel calculation 4 years back that how much I need. I think that's what we all are discussing.
तो बताइए, अभी ट्विटर कैसा है ना कि इसमें लोग जितना बता सकते हैं बताते हैं. तो आप आपने बोला 15 कंट्रीज आप घूमे और 4 साल पहले प्लानिंग करा. तो 4 साल पहले क्या नंबर आपने सोचा कि बिहार के एक विलेज में इतना चाहिए होगा? What was that number? If you can share.
Yes, sir. I can tell one of the example that I don't know whether it's the right word, envy or something. My father is 75 years old. Okay. And he gets money. He gets pension of 18,000, 20,000 rupees a month from Bihar government. And I envy his life. I will say he's a 75 year old. He has no health. Even my mother is 74. Both have no health habit, and they live a proper happy life. And that's what my goal is, that I should able to live. If I live 70 plus, I should live like them. Okay, that is the reason. And why the expenses I live, if you live this city life, that's also I realize that, like I have some small land and my father work on that land. And I can say, even I'm in 39, 40, he's much stronger, much healthier. There is no stress in his life. So these are the also factor which added my decision, you know. And like expense, I can say, if you live in a village, I'm talking about the monthly expense, not medical and anything. You can live a very nice, decent life in 20,000 rupees. Okay. I have a land, so I don't have to spend on the food like vegetable or rice or any cereal, anything. So like 20,000, you can live a very good life. Okay. So that's so I will come back to sir how I have planned. Like if you need, like I said, like you need 20,000-25,000 per month as a pension.
Sorry, थोड़ा धीरे-धीरे जाते हैं. 4 साल पहले आप कहाँ पर थे? मतलब कौन सी सिटी में, कौन सी कंट्री में थे? और आपने क्या डिसाइड किया कि मेरे को इतना पैसा सेव करना है?
मैं दुबई में
थे. और कितना पैसा सोचा कि बचाना है अब?
Sir, let's not go by number. That's no relevance. I will just say that how I plan. Like, I need, sir, 20,000 a month. Okay, for next, by I have a kid, maybe 60, 70 years, I will need, right? So I wanted to have somewhere, fixed in somewhere the debt instrument. Okay, whether it's a government security, like I have now started buying government security, which is giving 7.5 instead of annuity. I have started buying government security. So which can give me next 10, 15 years of cash flow regularly, better than this annuity and all. So this, I wanted to have 20 year of, means I can say this debt where I can get the 20-year inflation protected. That was my plan. Put something for medical emergency, okay? And put some, like 5 year, my plan was that 5 to 6 year of you should have at least income in your FD or whatever the debt instrument, 5 to 6 lakhs, 5 to 6 years as an emergency, and plus 20 year per month as a pension, inflation protected. The rest all I started putting in equity from 2000 onward, and it was blessing that in that Corona crisis time, I put more and more, and it still I am not able to deploy means money to the equity, but still I have achieved 60% goal and my 50-60, and my aim is to go to 75-80% equity in within 1 or 2 years. Yes, sir. I think that's it. I think my
Okay, and how do you like you have to plan for 60 to 70 years? So how do you chalk out, or how do you guess or make an estimate about coming inflation in 15 years, 20
Yeah,
years, 20, 30
yes, I am very diverse. The first things are the most important thing is your expense. Okay, I'm going in a village and I'm considering I will have no income, zero income. Okay, but I am not going to sit. Obviously, I want to do some farming. I don't know whether it will work out, not work out. I have not considered that. Other thing, I am a full diversity. I'm a diversified investor. I'm not just putting equity and debt. I have put on lands. I bought some agricultural land as well. So if something nothing works out, you always have to sell. I have some investment in gold. Can you hear me, sir?
आपका आवाज आ रहा है?
Yeah, so just to be the conservative means it's not only debt and equity. I have put some investment in lands and some investment in gold as well. So when I do a retirement planning, I consider that my return will be 0%. Means inflation equal to my appreciation. So I don't think so I have to worry about inflation. That should be a genuine expectation that 0% equity plus debt return. Hello.
Very good. I mean, I have nothing to add on this, and this is like a dream kind of a situation where you have decided to retire so early, and all the best.
Thank you, sir. I'm just one line that why it's all matter the happiness what you are looking for, and I'm sure today also when I go at my home, when I ride a bike across my field, that makes me much more happier than being in Dubai and driving some fancy car. So everyone has to.
रहते थे आप?
Sorry.
Al Karama. दुबई में कहाँ रहते थे?
No, sir. I was living in some other place.
Palm Jumeirah.
No, sir. I'm not that rich person. Okay.
अच्छा, मैं आपको वो जो मेरा टॉपिक है, you are the most eligible person to answer on that, and everybody's answer will be different. मेरा जो टॉपिक है उसके रिलेटेड पूछता हूँ. अभी now you're totally retired. आप अपना बरमुडा में बैठ के आप फार्मिंग कर रहे हो.
I'm not retired. I'm just waiting this August, September
हाँ, मतलब
next year.
भावनाओं को समझो.
Yeah.
तो अभी आपने 5 साल बाद क्या करोगे, 10 साल बाद क्या करोगे, 15 साल बाद क्या करोगे, 20 साल के बाद क्या करोगे, उसके हिसाब से आपने अलग अलग प्लान लिए हैं क्या? कोई एफएमपी प्लान या कोई इक्विटी प्लान या कोई डेट प्लान, आपने अलग अलग गोल के हिसाब से अलग अलग इन्वेस्टमेंट किया है, कैटेगराइज करके अलग अलग फोलियो क्रिएट करके करा है क्या ऐसा?
No, because many goals I have already completed, and the goal I have that I am going for, my goal is to spend time with kid and do some farming. That is my ultimate goal. And I have means it's not that because I cannot go. If I'm in India, I'm sure I will not go able to go Switzerland or Iceland. But yes, I have to take care of my wife feelings as well. So I have allocated some money, like 50,000 or 60,000. Maybe we'll go once or twice in India. And one thing I tell you, sir, I have been to 15-20 countries, and it does not cost much. The costing part you have to decide. If you like. We used to go and we used to stay in a hostel, or $10 in the south is $10 means hotels. So it's up to you how you decide. If you want to go to Iceland, you can do in a 1 lakh or ticket. I'm saying you remove the ticket, you can do a very small amount. You can use public transportation, you can use share guide. So, but if you want to have a 5-star hotel and sit in front of swimming pool, it's up to you. So goal can be adjusted based on how much your willingness and what is called a strong desire you have to do, and what is the purpose of your goal. Marriage is like you're saying, sir, one thing I will tell to everyone: if you have to live financially free life, retire early, one thing you have to just keep in mind, ये जो हमारे यहाँ था कि सोसाइटी क्या बोलेगा, ये बात अगर आप अपने दिमाग से हटा देंगे, life will be much simpler and much happier. That's it, sir.
अच्छा जय जी, आपको आखिरी सवाल आपसे पूछेंगे कि जो आपने बोला ना कि बीवी की इच्छाओं का भी ध्यान रखते हुए इंडिया में साल में 2 बार कहीं घूमने जाएंगे जिसमें 50-50 हजार का एक्सपेंस आएगा,
Yes.
वो एक्सपेंस आपने कोई अलग म्यूचुअल फंड में या अलग यूलिप में या अलग स्टॉक में लगाया है कि सारा वो मिक्स है, जो आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट है वो एक लक्ष्य की तरह पूरा मिक्स है?
It's not a big amount. You like you don't. So it's a part of my, you can say, same equity and debt fund. I tell you what I have done. Let's be frank. I have invested some amount in SGB. Okay, correct.
वेरी
SGB.
गुड। आई मीन ये तो बहुत कम लोगों को पता भी होगा और ये बहुत प्राउड होने वाली बात है। वेरी
Yeah.
गुड।
So if I have some 10 lakhs rupees, it give me 25 year per year, and I have made her one account her that okay, you every year you will get 50,000-60,000 rupees. You do whatever you want, shopping and all. You don't have to tell me, you know. So something
आपने
like
मतलब
that.
बहुत आपकी लाइफ सॉर्टेड है और आपने इतना सोचा और 4-5 साल के अंदर इतना मतलब नतमस्तक हूं मैं मन ही मन आपके सामने।
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
ओके।
Thank you, sir.
दादन जी दादन जी ने माइक लिया, उससे पहले मयंक और कोई भी बोल सकता है, आप अनम्यूट करिए और चालू हो जाइए सो दैट वी आर रेडी विद समवन स्पीकिंग।
Sir, I am glad to listen JP Singh. Actually, JP Singh जी, मैं भी गया से हूँ और आपको सुन के कसम से बहुत अच्छा लगा। अभी जैसे सर बोल रहे थे कि नतमस्तक हो गया मन ही मन, सच में हम भी नतमस्तक हो गए आपके साथ। इतना परफेक्ट ग्राउंड टू अर्थ प्लानिंग, ओह, इसको दिल जीतना बोलते हैं सर। बाहर के दुनिया में रियली में कुछ नहीं है, यहाँ बगल वाले से बात नहीं करते। जो मजा गांव में है और जो लाइफ है, आई एम फ्रॉम मेडिकल फील्ड बाय द वे, टू एवरीवन आई जस्ट वांट टू टेल। और आज मेरा खुद का एक रिसर्च पेपर है। उस रिसर्च पेपर में सर मैंने रिसर्च किया था ऑन हेल्थ इश्यूज, कार्डियक, डायबिटीज, बीपी, दिस ऑल। एंड मेरे रिसर्च पेपर का रिजल्ट मैं जस्ट बताना चाहता हूँ सर, आप सबके साथ शेयर करना चाहता हूँ। आई एम इन मास्टर इन फार्मेसी एक्चुअली। उस रिसर्च पेपर का रिजल्ट था सर कि 96% ऑफ पीपल इन टाउन कंपेयर टू द विलेज पीपल, दिस टाउन पीपल आर prone to get cardiac, diabetic, BP and all the diseases. Even अभी भी आप गांव में चले जाओ, जो आदमी जिंदगी भर गांव में सिर्फ खेती किया है उसको कोई बीमारी नहीं है सर। जबकि टाउन में आ जाओ, वो अंबानी ही क्यों ना रहने दो, उसको भी बीपी है, उसको भी शुगर है, उसको भी कार्डियक इशू है, कितना भी पैसा रहने दो। तो ये जो सबसे बड़ा चीज है, हेल्थ इज वेल्थ। आज के टाइम में सर बड़े बड़े स्टार 1 सेकंड के अंदर राम नाम सत्य हो जा रहे हैं। हाँ, और एक और अच्छी चीज, एक और बहुत ही गंभीर चीज बता रहा हूं मैं। अभी के टाइम में आफ्टर कोविड में मैक्सिमम केसेस, कार्डियक केसेस आर नॉट कार्डियक केसेस जो भी हो रहे हैं वो मतलब कि डायरेक्ट हार्ट फेल्यूर हो रहे हैं। दैट इज कॉल्ड कार्डियक अरेस्ट। कार्डियक अरेस्ट में एक पेशेंट को सेव करने का कोई उपाय नहीं है। आई थिंक दैट द लास्ट ऑप्शन, लास्ट सेकंड आई कैन टेल, लास्ट सेकंड। तो गांव में लेकिन आज भी देखो सर, ऐसा कोई केस आपको नहीं मिलेगा किसी को हार्ट अटैक आया, किसी को कार्डियक अरेस्ट आया, कोई ऐसा केस नहीं। सब के सब अभी जितने भी आपके स्टार 3-4 स्टार चले गए सर, सबको कार्डियक अरेस्ट हुआ है सर, किसी को हार्ट अटैक नहीं आया है। हार्ट
सर हम लोग थोड़ा टॉपिक से भटक भी रहे हैं, एज इट इज अ वेरी फोकस्ड टॉपिक।
बस आई गेट
योर पॉइंट।
सर एक्चुअली जेपी सिंह की बात सुन के मैं बहुत इंप्रेस हुआ। That's why I diverted myself, sir. Please don't mind. ये सुन के बहुत अच्छा लगा।
कल ही एक और स्पेसिस करेंगे कि अर्ली रिटायरमेंट एंड हैप्पी लाइफ इन विलेज, पक्का। दैट इज माय प्रॉमिस, विल डू इट।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू।
ओके, राकेश जी आपने माइक लिया है, केयोर्स जी आपने माइक लिया है, बोलिए।
हेलो अर्जुन जी, थैंक यू फॉर द अपॉर्चुनिटी। अभी मैं एक IT इंजीनियर हूँ और आपके साथ आप जैसे बोल रहे हैं कि गोल कभी मतलब सेट करते हैं बट it changes, it keeps on changes. So
सर
that
थोड़ा
is so.
आप माइक के और नजदीक आ जाइए, आपकी आवाज ऐसा लग रहा है कि आप बहुत दूर से बोल रहे हैं।
अभी सुनाई दे रहा है?
अभी बेटर है।
ओके, सो मैं आप जैसे बोल रहे थे कि गोल हमेशा चेंज होता रहता है, तो मैं वो चीज़ को एग्री करता हूँ, बिकॉज उस टाइप का कुछ चीज़ें हुई है। जैसे मैं एक IT प्रोफेशनल हूँ और मैंने मुंबई में करियर स्टार्ट किया 2011 में। तो तब मैंने एक घर खरीद लिया 2013 में मुंबई में, और अभी मैं वहाँ पे नहीं हूँ, और अभी मैं टायर 2 सिटी भुवनेश्वर में हूँ। तो बेसिकली ऐसा हुआ कि तब मेरा गोल था कि मैं मुंबई में सेटल होने वाला हूँ, बट जब कोविड हुआ तो सब लोग वर्क फ्रॉम होम के लिए अपने पीछे आ गए, अपने टायर 2 टायर 3 सिटीज़ में, तो मैं भी आ गया। और अभी मेरा जो घर है उसको रेंट पे रखना पड़ रहा है, उसका जो रिटर्न जो मैंने एक्सपेक्ट किया था वो उतना हो नहीं रहा है, तो वो जो गोल जो सेट हुआ था वो चेंज हो गया। अभी फिर वापस जब मैं यहाँ पे आया भुवनेश्वर में, कंपनी सेम है, ऑफिस
नहीं
भुवनेश्वर में
राकेश जी,
नहीं
धीरे
है।
धीरे जाते हैं। मेरे स्पेसेस में दिक्कत यही है कि तेज कोई बताता है ना तो बहुत कम लोगों को समझ में आता है। आपने क्या गोल बनाया था? जितना आप अपने पर्सनल चीजों को डिस्क्लोज कर सकते हैं कंफर्टेबली, बताइए आपका क्या गोल था बड़े शहर में जब रह रहे थे, जब घर खरीदा था, फिर वो क्या रिटर्न मिला आपके इन्वेस्टमेंट पे, किस टाइप का इन्वेस्टमेंट था, और अभी गोल क्यों चेंज करना पड़ रहा है? अगर क्या गोल को हल्का सा चेंज किया या उसका गला घोट दिया है, वो सारा बताइए।
जी, सो मैंने एरोली नवी मुंबई में घर खरीदा, वो सोच के कि मैं वहाँ पे रहूँगा, लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए मैं वहाँ पे रहूँगा। एटलीस्ट अगर मैं एक प्रॉपर्टी वहाँ पे खरीद रहा हूँ, सो मेरा जो रेंट का प्रॉब्लम है दैट विल बी रिजॉल्व। बाकी तो जो कॉस्ट ऑफ लिविंग इन मुंबई, अगर इफ़ वी कंट्रोल इट, इट इज़ एब्सोल्युटली कंट्रोलेबल। तो वो सोच के मैंने वहाँ पे घर लिया। बट जो गोल था कि वहाँ पे रहूँगा, मेरे किड्स वहाँ पे पढ़ेंगे, वो नहीं हो पाया और मुझे वापस आना पड़ा क्योंकि कोविड आया। तो कोविड जब आया तो क्या हुआ कि जो थॉट प्रोसेस था माइंड में कि चलो मैं वो सिटी में रहूँगा, वहाँ पे चाइल्ड पढ़ेंगे, वो होगा। बट जब मैं वापस आया मैंने देखा टायर 2 में बेटर एजुकेशन है, स्कूल फीस कम है, एंड जो ओवरऑल जो लाइफ स्टाइल है वो बेटर है, और घर पे भी रहेंगे तो अच्छा है। तो वो जो मैंने इन्वेस्टमेंट किया था वहाँ पे अराउंड 70 lakhs का, उसका उतना अप्रिसिएशन हुआ रहेगा, मे बी वो 1.1 CR तक गया रहेगा, बट उसका जो रेंट जो आता है वो दैट इज नॉट अ परफेक्ट परसेंटेज ऑफ इट। तो वो एक चीज मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि गोल वहाँ पे चेंज हो गया। उसके बाद यहाँ पे वापस आके मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ, अभी फिलहाल तो मैं डेरिवेटिव कर रहा हूँ, आपका हैंडल से सीख के थोड़ा थोड़ा कर रहा हूँ। तो अभी मेरा पोर्टफोलियो मैंने अराउंड 5 lakhs इक्विटी में इन्वेस्ट किया हुआ है, और मैं अभी तो डेरिवेटिव करता हूँ। मैंने क्योंकि 50% कैश चाहिए, 50% इक्विटी चाहिए, तो 50% मेरा इक्विटी में है और 50% मैंने कैश रखा है, और मैंने बजाज फाइनेंस से ओवरड्राफ्ट का लोन करवा लिया है। तो वहाँ से मैं थोड़ा लीवरेज ले सकता हूँ, क्योंकि मैं सिर्फ इंट्राडे करता हूँ, तो वहाँ से कुछ जो भी जो कैश अमाउंट रहता है कुछ, तो फिर मैं अराउंड 20 lakhs में ट्रेड करता हूँ। तो यहाँ पे मैं ये कर रहा हूँ कि अभी फिलहाल मेरा अभी कोई गोल सेट नहीं कर रहा हूँ, बिकॉज मैं भी बिलीव करता हूँ कि गोल चेंज हो रहा है, एंड फिर मैं उसी को ही कंटिन्यू करना चाहता हूँ। थोड़ा सा कोडिंग पता है तो थोड़ा सा ऑटोमेट किया हुआ हूँ, तो उसी को ही कंटिन्यू कर रहा हूँ। और अभी रियल इस्टेट खरीदने के लिए नहीं सोच रहा हूँ, बिकॉज अब पता नहीं अभी भुवनेश्वर में हूँ, कल क्या होने वाला है, कल कौन सा सिटी में जा सकते हैं, तो वैसा है। बट यहाँ पे आपसे पूछना चाहता हूँ कि जो डेप्थ के बारे में बात हो रही है, तो यहाँ पे डेप्थ में इन्वेस्ट करना चाहिए या नहीं करना चाहिए, ये मेरा भी एक क्वेश्चन था।
ये हाँ, तो ये आपने जो पूछा है थोड़ा डिफरेंट टाइप का क्वेश्चन है कि डेट एज एन इंस्ट्रूमेंट, व्हेन यू आर सेइंग डेट, हम कर्जे की बात नहीं कर रहे, हम बात कर रहे हैं डेट म्यूचुअल फंड की। आई थिंक वी हैव अप्रोच टुवर्ड्स द टॉप ऑफ द रेट साइकिल। दिस इज नॉट द एग्जैक्ट टॉप, but we are not at the bottom anymore. We are not at 4%. RBI has been hiking very aggressively. And अगर आप एक लैडर क्रिएट करके थोड़ा शॉर्ट टर्म, थोड़ा मीडियम टर्म, थोड़ा लॉन्ग टर्म डेट में जाओगे, and don't go for corporate debt, don't go for mutual fund which address to corporate paper, go for government securities जिसको गिल्ड फंड भी बोलते हैं, go for PSU जिसपे गवर्नमेंट की इम्प्लिसिट गारंटी होती है जैसे भारत बॉन्ड है, और उसमें भी लैडर होना चाहिए, सिंगल मेच्योरिटी नहीं होनी चाहिए, बहुत आगे की भी और बहुत पहले की भी। उसको मिक्स करके अगर जाएंगे शॉर्ट मीडियम एंड लॉन्ग में, तो आई थिंक नेक्स्ट 1 to 2 years में 3 years में debt might outperform equity, because equity all over the world, Nasdaq has corrected 50%, Dow has corrected 30%. As someone said, Hang Seng has given away all the index, has given away all the 10 years again. Equity is showing a lot of signs of correction, and because the free money which was flowing all across emerging markets and other markets from US because of money printing, that is going to be reversed, and inflation has a lot of perceived inflation effect. as एक बार महंगाई शुरू हो जाती, लोग people start hoarding, it gets into their psyche. So investment कम हो जाता है, people start saving for the rainy day. Plus US में recession की बात हो रही है, तो वो all over the world money will start flowing away from equity and go to debt. I mean, if you look at 10-year US government yield, government bond yield, so a lot of reallocation will happen globally. India will not be able to be isolated completely. Already 250,000 crore kind of FIA selling has happened in last 10 months. I think every month or second they are selling aggressively. So because of be a part of emerging market basket, we will not be totally untouched. Maybe we will hover around this all-time high 18,000. Maybe we'll correct a little bit. Maybe we'll go a little higher. But going even 10% higher doesn't solve the problem in 3 years. So, but debt is, I mean, for example, a 10-year government bond is giving you 7.5%. So in 3 years, you will have 20% addition, right? Equity, whether it will add 20% from here, maybe not, but debt, सामने दिख रहा है that we are very near to the. So if you're asking me for short term, I say have a decent allocation for debt right now, 6 months, 9 months, 1 year, and then you can revisit the equation again, basis what the new data flow comes or how the equity performs.
Yeah, that I was looking for some bond of that kind, because 50% cash margin is required, and this type of bonds will also provide
whatever
the
50% cash margin is required, you can go for liquid mutual fund, or you can go for a liquid Bs, mix of that. Don't expose yourself to single AMC, and rest 50%. Also, you don't need to go all aggressive in equity at this point of time. If you have just woken up today and if you ask me today, keep a mix of debt and equity, probably 70-30 as of now.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
I'll have to close it. K, yours, you have any comments to make? भूख लग रही है बहुत, खाना खाने जाना है. We also have one more caller.
Sir, before that, I having one query, if you don't mind.
I never mind.
सर एक्चुअली जो आपका जो पॉइंट ऑफ डिस्कशन है उसी पर है कि मैं उस तरह का गोल कुछ बड़ा फिक्स नहीं किया हूं सर लाइफ में. मेरा गोल है कि रिटायरमेंट के समय में मेरे पास एटलीस्ट 1 करोड़ रुपीस हो, जो कि हमारा बुढ़ापा और मेरे वाइफ का बुढ़ापा काट ले.
आपका नाम क्या है?
बेटी की शादी.
दादन है आपका नाम?
ददन कुमार सिंह. यस.
ये आपने
मैं भी आप बोलो
ददन जी, देखिए, ये आपने बहुत अंत में, जब मेरे को बहुत भूख लगी तो आपने ऐसा सवाल पूछा जो बहुत ही मेरे दिल के अजीज है. आप कितने साल के ददन जी?
सर 40 पहुंच गया हो.
40 पहुंच गए. अब म्यूट कर लीजिए. ओके, देखिए, एज्यूम करिए कि आप 60 पे रिटायर होंगे और मैं आवाज हो गए. अगर आप अभी किसी बड़े मीडियम साइज शहर में रह रहे तो तकरीबन 10 लाख चाहिए होते होंगे कंफर्टेबल लिविंग के लिए, और 10 लाख पे मान लीजिए आप रिटायर होते हैं आज ही की तारीख में, और आज ही आप 60, मतलब अचानक से क्लॉक रीसेट हो जाती है और आप 60 साल के हो गए और आपको रिटायर भी कर दिया गया, और लेट्स से देयर इज नो इन्फ्लेशन एज वेल. हमने एकदम सिंपल कर दिया आपके लिए. तो भी अब आप इतने हेल्दी हैं, और अगर आप 90 तक जी गए, इंशाल्लाह जरूर जिए, आपकी लंबी उम्र हो, ऐसी कामना करते हैं, तो 30 साल में हर साल आपको 10 लाख रुपए चाहिए होंगे. हर डेकेड में आपको 1 करोड़ रुपया चाहिए होगा विदाउट इन्फ्लेशन. 3 डेकेड मतलब आपको 3 करोड़ रुपए का चेक अगर कोई दे दे जब आप 60 साल के हैं, और बोले कि कोई इन्फ्लेशन नहीं है, बोले कि कोई इमरजेंसी नहीं है, कोई बीमारी नहीं है, सिर्फ लाइफस्टाइल के लिए आपको 3 करोड़ रुपए चाहिए, सो दैट आपको लास्ट तक आपका पैसा खत्म ना हो. अब अगर इसमें हमने इन्फ्लेशन का तड़का लगा दिया, अगर इसमें हमने मेडिकल इमरजेंसी का तड़का लगा दिया, अगर इसमें हमने बेटी की शादी का तड़का लगा दिया, अगर इसमें हमने और कोई एक्सपेंस का तड़का लगा दिया, तो 10 लाख का एक्सपेंस हर साल मेंटेन करने के लिए ऑन एन एवरेज आपको 5 करोड़ चाहिए। अब भाई कोई बोलेगा कि रिटायरमेंट के टाइम 10 लाख नहीं चाहिए होंगे, 5 लाख ही चाहिए होंगे, क्योंकि भाई अब घुटना चल नहीं रहा है, इच्छाएं कम हो गई, आकांक्षाएं कम हो गई। तो इसमें दो चीज बोलूंगा। एक तो ये, इंसान बूढ़ा होता है, इंसान मन से कभी नहीं बूढ़ा होता, अंदर से मन हर चीज का कर रहा होता है। जैसे जैसे मैं बूढ़ा हो रहा हूँ तो ये चीज ज्यादा रियलाइज हो रही है। फिर भी मान लो कि किसी ने खर्चे कम करके 5 लाख कर लिया, तो भी आपको 2.5 करोड़ रुपए चाहिए होंगे। दैट टू विदाउट इन्फ्लेशन, विदाउट इमरजेंसीज, विदाउट वन टाइम लमसम एक्सपेंसेस। तो बहुत से लोगों को जो लगता है कि रिटायरमेंट में कितना पैसा चाहिए, उससे कई 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 गुना ज्यादा पैसा तो चाहिए होता है सेम लाइफस्टाइल को मेंटेन करने के लिए। इस चीज की जिस दिन समझ आ गई, उसके बाद आपको रास्ता अपने आप साफ दिखना चालू हो जाएगा। उसके बाद जैसा कि मैं बोलता हूं, अपना एंडिंग रिमार्क भी यही दूंगा कि उसके बाद कहां लगाएं, इक्विटी रिस्की है कि नहीं है, कितने साल में किसका क्या रिटर्न मिला था, ये सब एक लाइफ सेविंग स्किल हो जाती है। जैसे कि अपन सांस लेते हैं, जैसे अपन खाना खाते हैं, अपने को पता है ना कि अगर रोज हम आइसक्रीम खाएंगे, रोज हम चीनी खाएंगे, रोज हम मीठा खाएंगे, तो 10 साल में हो सकता है डायबिटीज हो जाए, राइट। बहुत लोगों को 50 साल हो भी जाती है सर। सिमिलरली इन्वेस्टमेंट में क्या क्या गलतियां करी तो उसके क्या क्या दुष्परिणाम होंगे, वो पता होना इज अ लाइफ सेविंग स्किल। और जब आपको पता हो जाएगा कि यार बिना इन्फ्लेशन के भी अगर आधी लाइफस्टाइल पे भी रिटायर होने के लिए मेरे को 3 करोड़ रुपया चाहिए 60 साल की उम्र में, फिर आप सोचोगे यार इन्फ्लेशन के साथ कितना चाहिए होगा, फिर आप सोचोगे इसके साथ कितना, उसके साथ कितना। वो नंबर बॉस बहुत बड़ा होता है। इसीलिए बोल रहा हूँ, इस अपनी मैथ्स करने के बाद बता रहा हूँ कि जो छोटे मोटे गोल हैं उनका गला आप अपने हाथ से घोटोगे। हर कोई घोटता है, आपको एड्रेस पर्सनली नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, हर कोई घोटता है। बोलिए ददन जी, बोलिए।
तो सर फिर इसका उपाय क्या है? आप तो डरा रहे हो मुझे, कसम से बोल रहा हूँ। मेरा गोल तो बहुत छोटा था, लेकिन मुझे लगता है मैं बहुत गलत हूँ आपका बात सुनने के बाद।
ददन जी डरिए नहीं, सुनिए मेरी बात से, डरिए नहीं। गलत तो नहीं बोल रहा ना कि अगर 5 लाख साल का एक्सपेंस है, 50,000 महीने का एक्सपेंस है, तो एक डेकेड में 10 साल में 50 लाख चाहिए होगा। ये तो गलत मैथ्स नहीं है ना।
100% सेम कैलकुलेशन है सर, एकदम।
हाँ, तो 3 डेकेड में 1.5 करोड़ रुपया चाहिए होगा, बिना इन्फ्लेशन के, बिना किसी की शादी किए हुए, बिना किसी मेडिकल इमरजेंसी के। और ये सब तो लाइफ का पार्ट है, हर एक की जिंदगी में आता है, तो चाहिए होगा ना 3 करोड़। वो तो दिख रहा है। डरा नहीं रहा हूँ, आपको जगा रहा हूँ, डगा नहीं रहा हूँ, आपको जगा रहा हूँ, आपको जगा रहे हो, आप जग जाओ। तो अभी आप 40 के हो, 30 साल तो बिल गेट्स ने बोला कि 10 साल में तो आप दुनिया पलट सकते हो। तो अब जाग जाओ और शुरू कर दो।
प्रभु रास्ता दिखाओ।
देखिए, इसके 3 चरण है, जागने के 3 चरण है। एग्रेसिवली कमाना, एग्रेसिवली बचाना, और तीसरा क्या है, खुद रिलाई करो कहाँ इन्वेस्ट करना है, वो सीखना कि बेस्ट कैसे होगा। ठीक है। मतलब आज के 2 घंटे के डिस्कशन में ददन जी, अगर आप जाग गए, सैटरडे को खाना खा के नींद बहुत आती है, लेकिन अगर आप जाग गए तो वही बहुत है।
अरे भाई, आपके 5 मिनट के बाद में मैं जाग गया। ऐसा कैलकुलेशन तो मैंने किया ही नहीं कभी, और ये फैक्ट है। 5 लाख क्या, 5 लाख से ज्यादा का खर्चा है, और मैं बहुत ही नॉर्मल लाइफ जीता हूँ। आई एम टेलिंग यू, आई एम वेरी सिंपल पर्सन। रहता बैंगलोर में हूँ, लेकिन बहुत सिंपल लाइफ जीता हूँ। बाय द वे मेरी फैमिली भी ऐसी है, शी आल्सो लाइक द सिंपल लाइफ।
पटना चले जाइए, गया चले जाइए, अपने किसी रिटायर्ड रिलेटिव के घर चले जाइए जो अपने खुद के मकान में रहता हो, और उससे पूछिएगा एक बार, उसको थोड़ी सी बोलिएगा कि मेरे को बहुत बड़ी प्लानिंग करनी है, आपसे एक सवाल पूछना है। जनरली तो कोई बताता नहीं, लेकिन पूछिएगा कि आपके महीने के एक्सपेंसेस कितने हैं, डायबिटीज की दवा, ब्लड प्रेशर की दवा, इंसुलिन, इन सब का खर्चा मिला के कितना लगता है। वो 50 से कम का आंकड़ा आपको पटना में भी नहीं बताएगा आज की तारीख में। और जो डायग्नोस्टिक और फार्मा रिलेटेड इन्फ्लेशन है वो 15 से 20% है, वो 7% नहीं है। तो मैं जो बोलता हूं ना कि आपको अपने छोटे मोटे गोल्स का गला घोटना पड़ेगा, वो मैं डिमोटिवेट करने के लिए नहीं बोलता हूँ, सिर्फ जगाने के लिए बोलता हूँ। बोलिए
सर जी। इक्विटी में 60 लाख का इन्वेस्टमेंट है हमारा।
आपकी
अब आगे का रास्ता आप बता दो।
चीजों पे हम आएंगे, दोबारा से आएंगे। but you got the idea what I'm saying. It everybody will need-
110%. I already wake up. हाँ, मुझे अब सोने की जरूरत नहीं है, अब रास्ता दिखलाओ बस.
ओके चलिए दिखाते हैं गोपाल जी.
यस सर, आप खाने खाने जाओ उसके पहले बस आई जस्ट वांट टू एड्रेस टू द यंग पीपल ओवर हियर. सो जितने भी हमारे जैसे ये सब बुड्ढे लोग तो
आपसे यंग कोई
करेंगे.
है नहीं, आपके चेहरे से लग रहा है यू आर द यंगेस्ट हियर.
नहीं भाई जी, हम तो 30 वाले हैं. अब हाँ, बहुत सारे होंगे मेरे यंग दोस्त, ये सब बुड्ढे बोले प्लानिंग करें अपने लाइफ में. पर आपको मैं ये बोलूंगा बस टिल 35 डोंट गो बिहाइंड ऑल ऑफ दिस रेगुलरली कि भाई मैं जाके ये बना लूंगा, मेरा इतना सेविंग करना है, ये करना है. टू बी ए साउंड इन्वेस्टर, इवन इंस्टीट्यूशनल इन्वेस्टर या वीसी टाइप थिंकिंग के लिए भी बहुत सारा प्रैक्टिस, बहुत सारा ट्रेनिंग चाहिए होता है. सो टिल 35 कीप चेजिंग योर ड्रीम. आपको जो करना था वो कीजिए. कुछ अच्छे बनाने के लिए अपने पैसे डालिए, अपना टाइम डालिए, कुछ अच्छी प्रोडक्ट बनाइए. नाउ इंडिया इज ऑन अ स्टेज कि आप बहुत सारी चीज़ें बनाने के लिए आपको कहीं कहीं जाना नहीं है. सो बस अगर आप यंग हो तो डोंट लुक बिहाइंड योर फ्रीडम एट द लेटर स्टेज ऑफ एज कि भाई मैं जाके 50-60 में मैं ये घूमूंगा वो करूंगा. 35 तक एटलीस्ट ट्राई टू बिल्ड समथिंग फॉर अदर पीपल. का क्या पता वी आर इन द सिचुएशन की वर्ल्ड वॉर हो जाए. वी आर इन अ वेरी डेंजर सिचुएशन लाइक आनंद विल अग्री राइट कि कहाँ पे कितना क्या हो जाएगा हमको नहीं पता है. मे बी 50 साल के बाद की सोचेंगे और अभी कुछ हो जाए. सो प्लीज टू ऑल माई यंग ब्रदर्स ओवर हियर, ट्राई टू बिल्ड समथिंग. 35 के बाद में हम सोचेंगे ये सब. But I'm agreed with 100% with what Anand is sharing. I'm really loved your enthusiasm, Anand. Earn, save and invest. That has to be the goal. But after 35, that was just my understanding of the knowledge. Thank you, Anand ji. Thank you very much. आप भूखे रहे इतनी देर के लिए.
That is all from my side, friends. I enjoyed a lot. I hope मैं कुछ लोगों को जगा पाया. Moral of the story is कि आपको जब भी आपका शरीर जवाब देना शुरू करेगा इंटेलेक्चुअली या फिजिकली 50 के बाद, आपको बहुत बड़ा अमाउंट चाहिए होगा. उस अमाउंट को कैलकुलेट करिए, समझिए, प्लान करिए और एक बड़े लार्ज कॉपर्स को बिना किसी गोल आइडेंटिफाई करे एग्रेसिवली सेव करना चालू करिए. हम लोग मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल जो सुन रहे होंगे, आप देखोगे कि जो आपको सैलरी मिल रही है और जो आपकी लाइफस्टाइल है उसको मेंटेन करने के लिए पोस्ट रिटायरमेंट आपको बहुत ज्यादा पैसे चाहिए होंगे. तो आप उसको ढंग से प्लान करो और किसी भी इमोशनल पिच पे कि डॉटर की एजुकेशन के लिए यूलिप ले लिया या एफएमपी ले लिया या ऐसा मत करो. और उसको एज इफ योर लाइफ डिपेंड्स ऑन इट, इसको सीखो, समझो, पढ़ो. दैट्स ऑल. थैंक यू.